Today, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Nintendo DS. Do you feel old?
I'm so happy. The Nintendo DS is one of my favorite systems. I think it's one of your favorite systems.
Absolutely.
It's a system that we played a hand in when we were at Nintendo. And yeah, it is hard to believe that it's been 20 years, but there's a lot to reflect on. A lot of wonderful experiences.
Memories?
Just so many interesting things happened during that generation. We're going to look at all of it, literally all of it.
Literally all of it. I'm so excited to dig into it. We have so many comments and memories from our Patreon community as well, talking about their favorite DS games, and so I can't wait. Let's get into it.
Well, we've got a few things to get through first here.
Come on!
There's been a lot happening.
There has been a lot happening.
We have been putting up some, we've been react. We love to react. I live to react. I don't know about you.
I have a lot to say about things happening.
My favorite thing to do is react. Whoa! We've been reacting to some things that have been happening in the news for Nintendo. We have a video up on the channel of us reacting to the Nintendo Music announcement.
Yeah, that was a very surprising thing that happened
out
of nowhere late in the afternoon of last week. We have both been using the Nintendo Music app as well.
We're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about it.
We're going to lump it into the things we've been playing.
Playing music.
Playing music. But I really love this app, and we're going to talk. Cool. We're going to talk about it more. Mm-hmm. We just earlier today, right before we sit down to record this podcast, recorded a video talking about Nintendo's latest financial update.
Oh yeah,
sounds boring.
Yeah,
but there are a lot of. If you want to read the tea leaves, there's a lot in those.
Oh, the tea leaves,
and you can make sense of maybe where things are headed. And we've got some ideas as it relates to the final push for the Nintendo Switch, what the plan is for the Switch 2's reveal.
Yes.
There's a lot that you can pull out of these.
It's one of those read between the lines situations. If you understand the company's mindset, which we do because we lived it for many, 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 many years, you kind of see a lot of patterns and you kind of can glean like what their big master plan is, what their strategies are, and you can kind of figure out what they're probably going to be doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So check that out. It's time for something that's been highly anticipated.
Oh?
We're going to be revealing the November Spoilercast.
A bit unconventional.
And this one's a little bit different. So we have been saying for a long time that the December Spoilercast is going to be Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Yes.
And it is.
It is.
Take that, IGN.
Oh.
I will not be changing the plans.
We'll be talking about that, too.
I won't be changing the plans.
But we're still going to play that game.
On a 5 out of 10.
Yikes.
I'm a little concerned about you, actually. We'll get back to that also.
What do you mean?
Well... So I'm going to be playing that game this week.
Yeah, you're gonna play it launch week. I am still deeply in Dragon Age.
Right, so, which is a long game.
And I really like it.
And I think you have a long ways to go. So I can imagine a scenario where you're just like, I'm good.
But then we have to do it for the spoiler cast.
You're like, you can do that one solo, or I'll watch an explainer.
What?
Yeah.
I would never phone it in like that.
I'll watch an Ant Dude video on this and get caught up.
I'll still watch an Ant Dude video.
Get the pithy quips from Ant Dude.
I love Ant Dude. Give me the quips.
I don't know about you.
I won't copy Ant Dude.
I really don't know about you.
We'll see what happens.
And, we pointed out November is an interesting month where there are a lot of these big RPGs are coming out.
Yeah.
It's a short month for us because we have Thanksgiving.
Yes.
At the end of the month. So we're like, what do we do? What do we do?
What do we do?
We toyed with an idea that we ultimately vetoed, which is, these games are long. And if you're going to do a spoilercast, you have to finish it in that month, which sometimes can lead to some pressure for us. Like, can we do this? We toyed with the idea of doing a part 1 and a part 2 on a long game.
Then we were like, no, that just doesn't feel right to this.
Right, so it's like, no.
We like to keep it contained in the month. Like, that seems to work really well. You guys like it.
I don't like doing a cliffhanger on a spoiler cast when we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, let us know if you feel differently.
If you want us to do part 1, part 2.
Our minds could definitely be changed.
I know, we're playing around with it, because some of these big, long, like, a metaphor, Refantasio, for example.
Right, can't do that.
Could have been a good spoiler cast game, but don't know if we can do that.
Too long.
Yeah.
So there was much hand wringing, and we had a realization.
Yes.
Which was a spoiler cast does not have to only apply to a video game.
Oh.
It could apply to a lot of other things.
Oh.
And there was one thing in particular that we have been beating around the bush on. Mm-hmm. I have been beating around this bush.
You definitely have been beating this bush.
Decades.
For a long time.
Decades. And you said, you know what? It's time.
Yeah. Super
Mario Brothers movie, 1993. You are the November spoiler cast.
Oh my gosh. Surprise.
Wow.
So yes, we are going to be doing a movie for the spoiler cast for the month of November. It's going to be fun. I have watched bits and pieces of this movie when I was like 12.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't remember it. I know there's been famous memes that have come out of this. This is kind of like the Zelda CDI games where I've seen the memes. I know the commentary around how terrible it is and how cheesy it is, whatever. But I have not properly sat down and watched this movie in its entirety.
Well things have come a little full circle because now people are like, well, maybe it was actually good.
Right. It's one of those things that like it's like a moment in time kind of movie. It's a representation of the 90s.
And the reason I had not seen it was, I love Mario almost more than anything. And I thought, if I watch this and it's terrible, it's going to hurt me deeply. And I don't want to be hurt, so I'm not going to watch it. But now that the other Mario movie exists, and I like that, I'm fine. It's like, fine. This can't hurt me anymore.
Oh.
Yes.
Interesting way of...
I'm exercising
justifying
the demons.
Interesting. Yeah, I never had like a sense of like, I can't watch anything bad about Mario. I just never was interested really in this. When I was younger, I think it looked like kind of scary. Like it was dark, like a little dark, which was very unlike, a Mario game, obviously.
Sure.
So I was just like, is this like a scary movie? Is this not like happy?
Yeah.
And I was not very interested. But anyhow, we're going to be doing the spoiler cast on this movie. But we're also going to be doing a commentary watch-along.
Yes.
As part of this. So you'll get this full, discussion, spoiler cast that we do with all the questions and answering different topics.
Full length. And then after that, we'll just be watching the movie together and then commenting on it. Yes.
And then you guys can, we'll do that thing where it's like 1, 2, 3, play. You guys can watch along with us if you want to revisit this movie as well. And have a nice little like movie night with us, which would be really fun.
Exactly. We did one of those before for Sonic Week when we did the Sonic movie. To be clear, we are not giving you the movie.
No, that would be illegal.
That would be illegal. But you will get us talking about the movie, and if you have the movie, you can just, again, hit play at the right time, and we'll be talking along to it as you're watching.
Exactly.
Which is a fun thing to do.
We'll do the nice little countdown,
yes.
And then you can sync up to where we are.
And same thing as always, like if you're a Patreon subscriber at Notification Squad and up, you'll get all that stuff.
Right.
And if you are going into the Patreon shop to pick that stuff up for that same price, you'll get everything.
Yeah, you'll get the spoiler cast and the watch along for that same price.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. It's a different kind of thing, but I'm excited. It's like how many
excited.
Years? 30 plus 30 years. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
31 years.
Wow.
Whoa. That's a long time ago. That's like a whole adult person ago.
Yeah. Many
a whole middle-aged person ago, which is a lot.
More than a Nintendo DS even, wow.
More than a Nintendo DS.
Yes.
But yeah, let us know what you think of this. I think this is going to be a fun little treat in the middle of the year. And then of course in December we'll be back to a game. So
we all deserve a little treat.
We do.
Something else that is new in the world of Patreon that I was very excited when I got this email coming through. There's something that I've always been asking myself, like, why can't you do this on Patreon? This seems like it's an easy thing. It seems like people would want to take advantage of this. Now they have it. You can gift a Patreon subscription to another person.
Yes.
So it's like, I am gifting you,
a year
or a month or whatever you want it to be.
Right.
Of the notification squad tiers. So you can get all these. I heard you love a spoiler cast. Now you got a year of those coming your way.
What a great gift.
Perfect. And perfect timing for them to roll this out. Yeah. So that is available now.
Right.
If you are interested in giving the gift of us.
Give me to you.
To your closest
and your
friends and families. You can do that at
I'm available.
Patreon.com/KitandKrysta/gift.
I'm going to put the link here. But also, we've been doing these QR codes.
Oh.
So I'm right.
Look at us.
The little square. See?
Wow.
And they put the QR code and you can just scan with your phone.
It's like I'm sending myself a screenshot from a Switch.
You could do,
we only have one QR code. They have two.
You have to do 2 scans.
Yeah.
So you only scan one time.
Yeah, so much easier.
QR code's right here.
Right.
And then you can check it out, and maybe this will be like a cool, unique gift that you can give somebody for the holidays.
You also can't do that on Switch. You can't give somebody a game. Why can't you do that?
Why can't you do that?
Come on, that's lame.
I would love to do that. That'd be fun.
Wow.
Anyways.
Amazing stuff.
Yes, amazing
so much is happening. Let's jump into our Nintendo DS retrospective. Got one more thing to do though. First, we got to shout out a sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Raycon.
Thank you.
I love me some Raycon.
Me too.
Black Friday. Again,
every day.
The gifting is just around the corner, and one of the best things about that is getting an amazing deal that you can't normally get.
Yeah.
Except with Raycon, because with Raycon you get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year, but that doesn't mean they're not having any sales for Black Friday. That's far from it. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering our viewers up to 30% site-wide.
That's
wow.
a huge discount. And they're already very affordable.
Yes.
So plus the 30% is like, yeah, you better be picking up a couple of these.
Yes, we are both users and lovers of the Raycon Everyday Earbuds.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I love them. They're so easy to use. Basically, every day when I go for a walk, I'm listening to like an audiobook or a podcast. I'm always using these. I've also used these on the airplane, which I find to be really nice because they have a little bit of noise canceling.
Yes.
So it's really nice on an airplane. But they're just so easy to connect, so light and easy to carry around. Just really easy to use, which is the most important thing.
Yes, I previously had a set of earbuds from fill in the blank big name manufacturer here. And I was like, I like using earbuds, but these things fall out of my ears. Like, I don't know. Like, I do have some issues with it here and then, but this is so great. Like, it stays in my ear.
Yes.
It has 32-hour battery life. I'm like, do I ever need to
I barely charge
This is like
mine.
the Switch Pro controller of earbuds.
Totally.
The sound quality is great. They're small, they're compact. They come in all these different cool colors that you can customize. Like, yeah, it's like I have these in like so many times a day. Like,
They're comfortable too.
I go for a walk, I put them both in. If I'm doing stuff around the house, maybe I'll just put one in so I can.
You are a one earbud kind of guy.
What does that mean?
You always do that. It's weird.
What's that supposed to mean?
I like to have both earbuds.
What a weird thing to say.
You do that though.
Oh my gosh. And the price is already like really competitive
It's
to
really
start,
good,
but
yeah.
but now you're going to be getting 30% off.
I know.
That and everything else on the Raycon
crazy.
site, which is so cool. So it is time to save big for Black Friday. Go to buyraycon.com/KitandKrysta today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right, you get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/KitandKrysta.
We'll put the link over here and in the description below.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Nintendo
All
DS.
right.
So we are a little early, we will admit, to the anniversary. The first release of the Nintendo DS was November 21st in 2004.
Yes.
And there's actually, so interestingly, there's actually another Nintendo anniversary that also happens on a November 21st, not in 2004, but we're going to be celebrating that one too. Also this month, so it's like we gotta space these out.
That's right, and
so
it's
maybe
still
we're the
month.
first to be ringing the bell on the Nintendo
still
DS
anniversary month.
It's anniversary month.
That's right. It's like birthday month. You gotta celebrate the whole month.
Right. So I think just a good starting point for this is to go to the point when it was first kind of talked about by Nintendo and kind of share our thoughts and feelings on it.
Yeah.
And that actually first happened January 20th. 2004, kind of out of nowhere, Nintendo sent out this press release, which I'd like to read a little bit of this from because
this is a very interesting.
press release. It is very interesting, and it is a bit of a blast from the past of a 20-year ago press release. So
yeah.
I'll read until it gets boring.
Okay.
Headline: Nintendo announces dual screen portable game system. Quote, mystery product. Wow!
They would never do that
to
now,
launch
right?
What does that mean? Mystery product to launch later this year. What in the world does that mean? Mystery
I know, but
product.
why is it in quotes? Mystery.
What?
Yeah, but think about Nintendo of today.
Oh man.
Doing this kind of like teasy kind of thing for hardware. Unthinkable.
Let's read some more. An unprecedented approach to video game play, holding 2 separate game screens in the palm of your hand, hits the scene later this year when Nintendo introduces a new portable game system, codenamed Nintendo DS.
The codename became the real name, apparently.
From information made available today, players can look forward to being able to manage their game progress from 2 different perspectives, enhancing both the speed and strategy of the challenge. For example, in a soccer game, users can view the whole game on one screen while simultaneously focusing on an individual soccer player's tackle or goal on the other screen. Players will no longer be forced to interrupt gameplay to shift perspectives, such as moving from a wide shot to a close-up, or alternating between a character's ongoing battle and a map of the environment. Nintendo DS makes it possible to perform the tasks in real time simply by glancing from one screen to another. And then they go on to say that they'll have the system at E3. We have a quote from Mr. Iwata. We have developed Nintendo DS based on a completely different concept from existing game devices in order to provide players with a unique entertainment experience for the 21st century.
Wow.
21st.
21st century.
Yada yada, it continues.
It's so amazing that they called it a mystery product, but then goes on to
tell you
give
exactly
you
what it is.
information
Right.
on exactly what it is, including like all of the tech specs.
So until the following E3, we did not see this thing.
That's right. That's right.
So do you remember when this information hit? Like, what was your instant reaction?
I remember when this hit, and this was, again, back in 2004, so I was not in the games industry at the time. I was just a normal person. I was still in college at the time, so I was a very young lass. I remember, because I did have a GameCube. I got a GameCube pretty late in the life cycle as well. And I just remember thinking, what the heck are they doing? This sounds so stupid. And I had this reaction like, oh my God, it is so over for Nintendo. Because I remember the GameCube was sort of floundering then. I had only gotten it. I didn't even have a GameCube. And I didn't even think to get one. But someone got it for me as a Christmas gift with the Mario Kart Double Dash bundle. And that was the only reason why I had a GameCube. I personally wasn't like beating down the door to get one. And yeah, I just remember thinking, this sounds dumb. Like, it sounds like something that you would use in like a, this was the time when we had that flippy phone with the text messaging.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that phone?
Flip phones.
And I was like, this sounds like that. It sounds so utilitarian almost. Or like almost something that you would use for like work. This is also the time when we started to see like Palm Pilots and things like that. Pre-iPhone, but like things like that. Like there's a Windows phone, I think, at the time. And I remember thinking, this is such a dumb move for a game company to like make itself almost like a phone or like something that you, like a Palm Pilot you would use when you're a working adult, and that sounds boring. Like I'm gonna track my meetings. Ew.
I'm looking closely at this release. They don't mention the touchscreen aspect of it.
They just mentioned the dual
two
screen.
screens, which is obviously like a major component to it.
Right.
But yeah, that's very much in line with like the general thinking. At that point, like I had just started working in the industry, and I was spending a lot of time on message boards, specifically NeoGAF, which I guess back then was just GAF.
That's right.
Gaming Age forums.
Yeah, Gaming Age forums.
And yeah, that was really like people like this is it.
There's nail in the coffin.
This is going to be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go third party when this bombs inevitably. Because people were losing confidence in Nintendo. There was, and we'll talk about this more, just like this growing trend of games becoming more mature and people embracing that.
Yeah.
People of all ages, like with the push for Sony, and Nintendo was kind of in this niche of like, oh, they're for kids,
right.
And they're kind of what you used to play when you were younger, but like you can be
they
playing.
Haven't kept up with the modern.
Now I'm playing Grand Theft Auto and all these other like mature games that make me feel like an adult. So yeah, it was really like people did not understand this. The idea of two screens was so foreign. Like there were so many funny mock-ups that people made, like how would that what?
How would this work? And it's so interesting that, just looking back, this is like when you realize that, what did they say, like hindsight is 20/20 or whatever. Because nowadays you would never ever imagine like we're gonna do just a press release to announce something that's very novel,
right.
It's very different, and not have any visuals, not have anything. We're just gonna describe it to people and just let them like use their imaginations to put the pieces together, which is like absolutely a terrible idea because everybody's imagination went to how this is terrible and how this is going to be like lame, because they didn't have any visuals.
Yeah, they gave you these two examples about the soccer game.
Yeah.
Or shifting perspectives.
Hard to grasp that means, though.
I just don't think it was enough for people to really see the appeal.
Yeah.
Or the need for any of that.
Totally.
So again, it was real Downersville when this happened, and people were just laughing. And again, around this time, like there was these rumbles. So Sony's going to have this handheld. So it was like, this is curtains.
This is it.
This is curtains.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it takes us to E3 2004, and I think we've done a couple videos on E3 2004, but that was one of the big ones for Nintendo in history. This was where the DS was properly unveiled. This was Reggie's big debut, taking names. There was the Twilight Princess trailer that had people crying in the aisles,
in the audience,
and so on. But again, this was Reggie pulled it out of his pocket, held the thing up, and you could finally see what it was and start to understand how the two screens were working together. And this is kind of just a press still that they gave out that had what would become Mario Kart DS. The big kind of flagship game that they had when Reggie was showing up was Metroid Prime Hunters.
Yes.
Which obviously, perfectly showed off the touchscreen because you're using that to aim while it's a bit of a convoluted control scheme, but it was very different and very novel. And I will continue to say that game looked very underrated for the time. This is a huge leap up from the Game Boy Advance. Which we had before. Again, the PSP was there, which was really muddying the waters, but as far as the jump that Nintendo was making with the graphics, this is fully 3D, this looks kind of nice. This is more.
It's running.
This was more than what people were expecting, but it didn't pop the same way because of the PSP was looming over everything.
That's right.
And there were a lot of other kind of tech demos and kind of work in progress games that people saw at that E3. Obviously, Super Mario 64 DS, but there were all sorts of other little tech demos. And people started to be like, okay, people started to come around
a little bit
on it here a little bit once they could finally see it and figure it out.
Still not completely, though. I feel like people were so very skeptical of this and very wary of how it's going to compete in the market and what this bottom screen control scheme.
It wasn't a slam dunk.
It wasn't a slam dunk.
But it was not the, open and shut, it's over kind of talk. There might be something interesting here. And obviously, notably, the version of the hardware that they had at this E3 is notoriously ugly. Look at this thing.
It's horrible.
This is ridiculous.
Well, the original DS, the design was not
It wasn't far from this.
It was pretty ugly.
It was not far from that, yeah. The DS Fat.
DS Fat is pretty ugly.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a great quote from Reggie here about what they were trying to accomplish. What we're saying, and I passionately believe this, is that the future of gaming is about the interface and the innovation in the interface that we provide for gamers. That's what's going to get the future gamers excited versus simply focusing on technology for technology's sake. So when we look at DS and the various input devices, touchscreen, voice, wireless, 2 screens, that's certainly a model for how we're thinking about our entire business.
This is where they started to go that blue ocean.
Yes. I mean, they had to.
Yeah, they had to.
Because they
can't compete.
They were getting their butts kicked on the GameCube, which was really, it had a funky controller that some people love, but it wasn't that different. It was really just it's better graphics.
Right.
They learned hard that they couldn't really compete in that sense.
Yeah, and even with their first-party games being so strong, they still couldn't compete.
Yeah, and the Wii was still a little bit behind, a couple years behind this.
Yeah.
But these things were being thought up kind of in parallel.
Exactly.
And it was just a major strategy shift of we've got to do something else that really fits our strengths and gets us out of this bloodbath that this industry is becoming.
It's not gonna be good if we keep
and
playing on that field.
And that's serving them today.
Right.
We have a legendary
I love this quote
from Yamauchi-san. If the DS succeeds, we will rise to heaven, but if it fails, we will sink to hell. And he had a lot of quotes of I helped them come up with. He seems to take a lot of personal ownership for this idea. which I don't doubt, but it's because he's kind of notably like a hands-off guy. He's like, I don't play games. I don't know anything about games.
I'm just the business guy.
I'm just running the company.
Yeah.
But in this case, he did seem to have a big idea about like how this could be unique.
Yeah. He seemed very invested.
Right.
In like the strategy of it.
Right. Yeah. So again, like one of the major headwinds that they had with this, very different, very interesting piece of new hardware was the PSP. And at that same E3, Sony was showing that off, and the PSP launched slightly later in the United States. I think it was early the following year, if I recall. But everybody was comparing the two together. And again, the consensus among people who were in the industry, following the industry, was like that the PSP was just a vastly more appealing piece of hardware. And like again, like it was this corner that Nintendo was stuck in of being kiddie was so pervasive and so negative for within that group. Like people wanted to get out of that. Like we do not want to be kiddie. Like games are finally for adults. We talked about this in our episode when I went to the Playboy Mansion. Actually, about how there was this trend around this time of like this
early 2000s.
This narrative of like. Games are for everybody. Games are for adults. More adults are playing games. Wow, like I didn't realize this is happening. It's like a major shift.
And also, games are cool. It's cool to be a player of video games.
Right. Look at this M-rated game. I'm choking this guy out in this manhunt. Isn't that cool? Wow.
But it is that sense that like they were trying to not only show that games are for adults, sure, but like they were also trying to get out of that thing where it's like games are not for like that nerdy kid in the basement.
Right.
The guy with no friends.
Right.
They were trying to give this ulterior image of, playing video games is like a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And Nintendo was like failing at that.
And the PSP, I mean, I love the PSP. The PSP had a lot going for it.
Yeah.
The games looked great. Like it looked like barely a step below like what a PS2 could do at the time. So it was like, wow, this is like having a console game in my hand. It had that big widescreen, which was
really
like
nice.
a major. Like, oh my gosh, like a widescreen. Like even like PS2 games weren't widescreen. Nobody had a widescreen TV then.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, this feels like futuristic.
And you were holding it in your hand.
And the design of it was just very sleek, and like that was like classic Sony doing Sony stuff.
Right. It looks very expensive.
And the word that everybody would use to describe the PSP was sexy. It's so sexy.
They loved
and it used to drive me crazy. I was like, I don't think it's a great word to be describing a piece of hardware with. But everybody felt that way, and it went all the way where you had this viral photo of Jessica Chobot licking the thing.
Yeah. It's very adult.
It is. And this just kind of became like, the rallying cry of like, oh my gosh, the PSP is amazing. Like this is just gonna revolutionize, I'm ashamed to pull out a Game Boy if I'm at a movie theater, but I wouldn't be ashamed to pull out a PSP.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about like the reputation of the video game player, not like the actual, it's like they're really working to change the perception that other people had of people that like video games.
So again, if you weren't around, like this may all seem kind of like foreign to you
and stupid,
and because it's like like we have a Switch, like you see people with a Switch everywhere, like and it's like young people, old people, whatever, like big deal. But like that was such a hurdle back then.
It was
of being pigeonholed of like this is for little kids,
and again you would be judged.
Yes,
like I had friend groups that would be like, why are you still playing video games? You are not 10 years old.
Yeah.
You are in college. Like, do something cool.
Yeah. So the DS, while innovative, clearly interesting, like it was not breaking those allegations.
No.
Of being for kids when it's like, we got, another Mario game on another Nintendo handheld that looks kind of funny. Versus the PSP. Like this is really like one of my very strong memories and takeaways of just like everybody just like going gaga over the PSP, where it's like, the DS is pretty cool. They're both cool, but like, maybe people are sleeping on this DS a little bit because they are so in
perception
love with the PSP.
And the general perception and culture of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Was really a factor in this.
Totally.
It would not be in the year 2024, it would be a very different landscape.
Yeah.
But back then, that became like a huge thing,
Yeah. So we came around to the launch, and notably, The system launched first in the United States.
It did, yeah.
It launched in December that same year in Japan. So that was kind of notable that the US was getting it first. And I think Reggie's talked about this, like the need to capitalize on the Black Friday opportunity.
Yeah.
Which obviously is not really a thing in Japan, and that obviously served them really well because they did have some strong sales of the DS out of the gate. Did you get a DS day one?
I did not.
Oh.
I did not.
Why?
Because I thought it was stupid still.
You still thought it was stupid. Okay,
yeah.
That's important to know. That's interesting to know. The launch price, it was $149 in the US. Mm-hmm. Games were $29. Remember those days?
Oh, man.
A $29 game.
I remember I was a poor college student, though, so that still seemed pretty expensive to me. The $150 price tag was pretty expensive to me. I remember thinking that. I remember thinking, like, oof, that's really steep. I better make sure I really like this before I get it.
Right.
Like, I'm not just going to willy-nilly.
Right.
Right?
And I found this interesting chart. The launch software was so jumbled up.
I know.
Between all these different territories.
Yes.
I don't know how it ended up this way, but it's really confusing. I'll just rattle off the US launch lineup because it's not that much. Asphalt Urban GT, Feel the Magic XYXX, Madden 2005, Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt. That's a demo. That was packed in. That was packed in with the system. You couldn't buy it.
Right.
Spider-Man 2, Mario 64 DS, and The Herbs, Sims in the City.
Oh, yeah, because Sims was big on PC, I remember.
Yeah, and in Japan and Europe, they had a lot more games, actually.
They did, but they launched later.
True. So, kind of not the strongest launch lineup.
Yeah.
I remember, let's see, I got it day one.
You did,
I had to get it day one. I was sold.
You were in the industry, so
I was sold.
You were sold.
And I was still a huge Nintendo fanboy. Got Mario 64. Obviously, that was at the time my favorite game ever, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can play this on a handheld." Are you kidding me?
But you were also like 10 when you played that game.
That's amazing, and everything. I obviously played some Metroid Prime Hunters because it was packed in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get any of these other games. I really took a hard look at Feel the Magic, but I just couldn't get there with it. A lot of this stuff felt very like tech demo-y of like, look at the touch screen. Look, we're doing a thing with the touch screen. I was like, this doesn't really.
Use the stylus.
I had some real mixed feelings about the touch screen so I did have, believe it or not, I had an Apple Newton. I don't know why, because I had no use for that at all. I was just kind of curious about this. Like, what is this thing where I can write and scribble something out and it'll translate it into typed text.
I had a Palm Pilot and it did the same thing. You had a little stylus.
What were you doing with a Palm Pilot?
I don't remember.
In college?
I remember someone. I think I had just started working at my first job at that time, and I don't know. I thought I wouldn't need a Palm Pilot.
But yeah, that was really the only other device
with a touch screen.
A PDA, which stands for a personal digital assistant.
I know, that's what it was.
No, a lot of people don't know this.
Oh.
Okay? I'm thinking of young Tuskoob, our wonderful Patreon.
Do y'all remember
Tuskoob don't know this, okay?
You used to not be able to touch it with your finger, you see.
You
had to use a stylus.
Well, they had a stylus.
Yeah, so it was.
So Tuskoob, this is for you. PDA stands for personal digital assistant, like a Palm Pilot.
He knows.
And I was like, I really associate games with buttons, a controller.
Oh.
I appreciate that this has a touch screen, but the games that were touch only, I kind of like, this is maybe a direction that I don't super love.
Yeah.
So that was what a lot of this stuff, or this early stuff was. It felt very tech demo.
And remember, this was pre big time mobile games.
There was no iPhone.
There was no iPhone.
Yeah.
And there was no app store.
It was stuff that you would play on your Motorola Razr.
It was like Snake. And I think there was Bejeweled came out around
Jammed at Bowling, which I worked on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was huge.
But Bejeweled you can play with a stylus. So that was one game.
Were you playing that on your Palm Pilot?
I was playing that on my Palm Pilot.
That's what you were doing on your Palm Pilot.
I was playing that on my Palm Pilot. But that was the extent of touch screen, that type of mobile style gaming.
Yes.
We didn't have it, you see.
For the record, Feel the Magic XYXX was also known as Project Rub.
Sexy.
I just needed to say that.
It's very sexy.
It did have a silhouette of a very attractive woman on it also, which I was like, interesting.
This is their, instead of licking the system, you can play this game.
So that's what I picked up. And so, this interesting thing was with both Mario and Metroid did have a pretty heavy emphasis on controlling through the touchscreen.
Yeah.
And it came with this little nubbin. It was like a wrist strap that also you could attach it to your thumb.
I remember that.
That had a little plastic thing that would go
on
the tip of your thumb, and the idea was like, okay, well you can use this
as like a camera thing,
like you would on a phone. It's like a virtual analog stick,
right?
And you could get analog control where Mario would walk, Mario would slowly run, and Mario would sprint. And it was the same thing with Metroid. It was like, this is how you're controlling the first person if you hold it and you use this. But the problem was like,
awkwardly holding the
you needed like Shaq-size hands to reach it over.
It's like,
and it's the same problem that people have with virtual joysticks now, where it's like the degree of precision, there's no feedback.
Yeah.
So the degree of precision you're getting is not there. So
right.
I feel like that's like my main memory of that Mario game was like just going back and forth. Am I going to use it? Am I not? Can I get it right this time? Of just like never feeling like there was
quite clicked.
The right solutions.
Yeah.
Like, it was very frustrating for me. It's like, I love this game. And this by all accounts is a good version of this game, a good translation of this game, but there's just this one kind of important thing that's holding it back.
The control scheme in a video game is maybe the one most important thing.
That's what it was.
You can't really like give it a pass on that. You know what I mean?
So that first, the launch and those first couple months were a little touch and go.
It was very no pun intended. It was a little touch and go.
Some waits, a lot of like feeling out games. I'm like, maybe this will be better than I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it went. It's like, I tried out most of these games, as time went on.
Right.
Not really. I remember the another one that I got in on pretty early was that Yoshi.
Oh yes.
What was that? I always forget the name of this game.
Yoshi's.
Where you're kind of drawing
touch and go.
Yoshi Touch and Go.
Yoshi Touch and Go. Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna look that up.
I think it's Yoshi's Touch and Go.
Describe this game.
Yeah, it's like the same thing as like Kirby's Canvas Curse, where you can use a stylus to like draw little like things for Yoshi to like walk across. Is that what that was?
Let's see. So this came out March 14th, 2005.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. But yeah, it was basically like it stacked up the two screens, and you were kind of trying to get Yoshi to go up. You remember this game,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Felt extremely tech demo-ish to me.
It's it was a little bare bones.
No, this is not a great game.
Yeah.
Speaking of tech demos, though, Mario 64 has some awesome touch-only mini games. Those were so good.
Those were so good.
Put those on a phone. Just put those on a phone.
They should put that on a phone.
I'd pay like $10 for that.
I would too.
No joke.
Yeah,
that.
That would be totally worth it for $10.
Those were so good.
Yeah, so for me, I did not get this at launch because I don't think...
Then when did you?
This launch lineup was like very shaky for me.
That's fair.
And I was like, it's so expensive. And then I have to buy a game that's like almost $200. I don't have money for that. I'm a college student. Come on.
Well, what was the game or the moment?
So the moment that I decided that I wanted this, I was in a Fry's Electronics.
Of course. That's where it all happens.
Where it all happens in the early 2000s. I used to go there all the time.
Yeah.
And I would go there and, kind of like mill around the game section and like, because they would have these, like they do now, like these like little interactive setup where you can play with it. And they had a DS.
Yeah.
And the game that they had on there was WarioWare Touch.
Oh, such a great WarioWare.
And I was like standing in that Fry's Electronics and I was hooked. Like I was so addicted to WarioWare Touched. I would go to that Fry's like every day for like a month or whatever just to play that game until I saved enough money up to buy this thing.
Just browsing the Palm Pilot aisle.
I know.
What's new from the boys at Palm?
There's also BlackBerry and affectionately known as Crackberry at the time. Remember that?
Wow.
So yeah, that was the game that sold me, and I remember finally going to Costco. They had some kind of like deal where
weird bundle that they had
cobbled together where you would get, I think it was Mario 64 and the DS, and then I bought WarioWare Touched obviously separately, but it was like a pretty good price. I remember being like I was like, okay, I can afford this. I can buy this. But that must have been in like.
And you got like a 48 pack of eggs or something.
I got like a million.
I got a deal on a hot dog. Yeah.
And like a $1 pizza slice and the chicken
I got a drum barrel of soy sauce.
I did get a drum barrel of soy sauce. Like the biggest pack of toilet paper you've ever seen in your life. Yes. So that must have been like what, February or March of the following year, I think.
Couple months
Past the holiday. Yeah, it was definitely.
Was it hard to find then?
No. It was not hard to find at all.
Again, as I was going through my research, there was a lot of like, this thing was sold out, at least through the holidays.
Yeah, it was.
So I was lucky I got it day one, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have been able to get it otherwise.
Yeah, I wasn't. It was well past the holiday time, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was pretty easy for me to get, and that is when I got sold on this, because I was like, oh, this idea of it being dual screen and having the touch screen as like a controller, and like, you know, they really did a good job showing that off in that WarioWare game. Like that totally, and it's perfect because it's like these little micro games.
Right.
So it was so easy for you to like instantly understand it. Like that should have been a launch title in the US.
It was in Japan.
It was not in the US.
It was not ready.
It was not ready. It was too bad, because that's like the perfect way to describe.
I'm just staring at Zookeeper. That was another very like strange game that I was like, should I buy it? I was like, going back and forth, should I buy Zookeeper was a major question.
What is that?
Was a major concern in my life in 2004. Whether I should or should not buy Zookeeper.
It didn't even come out here.
I remember this game.
This is the launch list.
Daigasso Band Brothers was the game. It was Japan only. And it was like, this was, before things got released everywhere, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you have to import Daigasso Band Brothers. It's amazing. It was basically like you could have a band, like a virtual band. Oh, we didn't even mention PictoChat.
Oh, PictoChat.
PictoChat was built-in software on the
Yes.
DS. Did you ever have a PictoChat with somebody?
No.
I didn't
have
either.
a lot of friends at the time.
Maybe if you were in like, I don't know, like high school, like middle school or something, like that could lead to many lewd drawings, like in class, some giggles.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how do you pass notes back then? We used to pass notes.
It was a fun idea, but I can't say I ever had like a meaningful PictoChat sesh with anybody.
That's too bad. Yeah. It could have been a cute, like, meet cute for somebody.
You should write that book.
Okay.
There you go.
The early 2000s meet cute with a picto.
It's
writing itself actually right
now. Personal top 5 DS games.
Oh,
we both came up with
hard.
a list. Again, we're looking at the totality of the lineup.
Yeah, which ended up being freaking incredible.
Incredible library.
Oh my goodness.
Why don't you do yours first? I think we have a bit of overlap.
Yeah, mine, Rhythm Heaven, Animal Crossing Wild World, Kirby's Canvas Curse, Mario Kart DS, and Dragon Quest IX.
Kirby's Canvas Curse, I'm surprised that made
Love that game.
Really?
Loved that game.
I didn't know that about you.
I love that game. Make another one of these.
Okay.
Would you draw the little rainbow line?
Well, they did it on the Wii U. Did you like that one?
I played that one, yeah.
The claymation one?
Yeah, that one was cute. I actually really like that game on the Wii U.
I just wish Kirby moved a tiny bit faster, like 20% faster.
I liked it.
Very slowly rolling along.
It's so relaxing.
Okay.
I love that game. Make another one.
That's a good list.
It's a good list.
All first party with the exception of Dragon Quest, which was, well, we launched that game, so.
Yeah, we launched that game, and now I have a special place in
my list. Was yours in any order? Mine,
no.
Mine is not either.
Mine was just top 5.
I don't know.
Just not.
I have Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, the first of the DS trilogy of Castlevania. Dragon Quest IX, I also have that.
Nice.
Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
You love
plus the Pokewalker.
You love Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. You love that game.
I also have Mario Kart DS.
Of course.
And maybe you were surprised to see this on the list, a game that we clown on. Meteos.
This is a Sakurai game.
Meteos is really good.
Meteos is a great game.
Meteos is
He
super
just
great.
eked out of my top 5.
They should make a new Meteos game.
You know what? I love Meteos. They really should make another.
They made the Disney one. I gave that to you.
I love that. Instead of Smash, Sakurai, make Switch to Meteos.
I'd be down with that. Yeah. But yeah, there were just so many
look
great
at
games.
this list.
It was kind of hard to like even pick the 5.
Yeah, it was so hard.
And then we just what are the big DS games that we worked on? So you joined in 07, I joined in 09, which was still very much like, big time for the DS. I joined like right as the DSi was coming out. So we were kind of getting into, the Twilight years, but it was still going strong.
Yeah.
I worked on all 3 of those Castlevania games when I was at Konami. You worked on Phantom Hourglass. I worked on Spirit Tracks for Zelda.
Yep.
All the Pokemon games. Well, starting with heart gold, like platinum, diamond, pearl, platinum. I did not work on those. No. I don't think you did either.
I didn't either. Yeah.
But heart gold, soul silver.
Yeah, we worked on heart gold, soul silver, and black and white together, and Dragon Quest. 2? Black and White 2. Yep.
Yeah.
We did that together.
We
did Dragon Quest 9 together. I did Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, and I did Rhythm Heaven.
I thought I did Bowser's Inside Story.
I think I did Bowser's Inside Story.
We did it together.
Okay.
You did.
I'm pretty sure I did all the work on that. I don't think you did anything else.
I had a lack of interest. Interesting thing about this system is all of the hardware revisions that happened along the way. The DS Lite.
The DS Lite is probably one of my favorites.
Hugely important revision.
Like, I just still really like the form factor of a DS Lite.
It's a perfect design.
Like, I wouldn't mind if can someone just bring back a DS Lite, but with like 4K graphics?
That's probably illegal on some various illegal sites offering some, comes with 5,000 games packed into it or something?
No, but like high, like really powerful. That can play
it's powerful.
Okay.
I think it's powerful.
I don't want to illegally.
So that came out March 2006 in Japan.
Yeah.
June 2006 in the US.
That was a day one purchase from you, day one upgrade.
And that was $129.
Yes.
So the price is getting
had gotten lower.
Ooh, that's a steal.
So yeah, I remember this so clearly because DS Fat was ugly.
It was,
like nobody wanted it.
It wasn't great.
It was really ugly. But I remember Pearl Pink DS Lite. Oh man, I was so excited when I was like, yes, I need to have this day one immediately. Where do I need to get this? I ended up getting it back to Costco. I went. And
more Costco.
I got this is fun. I got DS Lite, pink DS Lite, packed in with the game Bratz Forever Diamonds. Bratz was a really like popular TV show / doll.
Oh, it's a TV show.
Yeah, but they had these Bratz dolls that I used to play with as a kid.
Sure.
And then they made it into like a cartoon TV show. Like it was.
Okay.
It had a pretty big IP.
Yeah.
So like I guess they had this video game, DS game for Bratz, and I was so happy. That beautiful pearl pink DS Lite was like my favorite thing ever. Yeah, Bring that back.
I just had the white one, and I was like, this is perfect. This is like hardware perfection.
It was hardware perfection.
From Nintendo. Like it just improved on everything that was clunky about the DS Fat was like just so sleek and perfect in the DS Lite. And at that point, they dropped the price by a whole bunch. So
I know. It was like
such
a steal.
A no-brainer. You're a real Costco hater these days. What happened to you?
I was my mom's membership.
I see.
Now I'm not anymore. Also, I live in the city where there's not really a convenient Costco.
There's not a Costco culture.
Yeah, I know.
Anymore.
It's hard to lug a lot of like big things into a tiny San Francisco apartment.
All right, fair enough. So that was huge, and as we were noting, like the sales of the system, the majority of the sales came via the Lite.
Oh yeah.
So that's like what most people had.
Because the Lite was like, then you almost felt like they launched this thing like a little early because they could have just launched with the Lite. And then it would have been
like year and a half later. Year and a half later.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, I get it. I mean, they were floundering too with GameCube, so I get why they needed to like pull the ripcord or whatever. But yeah, it never felt like DS Fat was like done, Then you get DS Lite and you're like, oh, this is what the system was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You really got that feeling.
Nintendo DSi, came out November 08 in Japan, and then, it was a big gap. I didn't realize that. April 09 in the US. That sold for $169. That really changed what the DS could do.
Right.
You could download games through DSiWare. Mm-hmm. It had the camera.
It had sound.
All the sound capabilities.
Yep.
This was kind of like a path on the road to the 3DS.
It was. And I worked on this launch. I remember this like a lot of discussion, drilling into you like we are an entertainment company. We are not just about making video games. We have to become a lifestyle product. This is what this is going to be. Like there was a whole thing about, we want people to be carrying around their DSIs, not just to play the game, but to be their music player, be the place where they're doing like social things, be the thing that they're using when they want to, like do any kind of like entertainment thing. I remember there was like little music videos on this. There were little sitcom-y TV shows on this that we did.
Are you sure?
Maybe not sitcom.
I think you're getting confused.
Anyways, but it was like this whole thing about it being like entertainment and not like lifestyle entertainment.
It was also about personalization. It's like this is my DSi and somebody else's will be very different. That was like a big talking point that we had.
Right.
What did you think of the DSi, the base DSi?
I didn't like it.
Why?
I hated the texture.
The texture of the plastic
was horrible.
It was kind of satiny, easy to scratch.
No, it felt like paper. It felt like a piece of paper.
I agree. I didn't love the feeling.
And then they had that really awful hospital blue.
The medical blue.
The medical blue. That was disgusting.
I think it was just black and that were the two options, right?
I think so.
Yeah, how did they come up with
that?
Did
they have
color?
A white version? I think eventually.
Not at launch. If they did, they didn't have it at launch.
I don't think they had it at launch. Yeah.
No.
And I remember like we tried to sell that into people, about it being like this thing that you listen to music on and blah blah blah. But no one ever used it for that, obviously. Like I don't think a lot of people used.
I can recall on an airplane, like on flights to New York, like I would listen to some music on the DSi.
Oh God, you're so lame.
I don't remember why.
Why?
I don't remember why, but
at that point you had an iPhone. And you also had, remember the iPod Shuffle?
I had an iPod.
Yeah, you had an iPod.
I don't know what I was doing.
You're weird.
But this is, like the iPhone had not become like there was still a time where like if you wanted to listen to a podcast, like you had to download it and then put it onto an iPod. It was not like
it wasn't like super convenient.
The phone had not completely solved all of these problems.
But everybody had an iPod, and everybody had an iPod Shuffle at that point.
I didn't know. Nobody wants an iPod Shuffle.
Oh, I had one. I loved my iPod Shuffle. I loved it.
You don't like having control?
I just like the randomness of it. I mean, if everything on your playlist is good, I don't have junk on my playlist.
No, I'm not doing that.
Everything on my playlist is
I'm gonna pick what I'm gonna listen to.
It's all bangers, so why not have it on shuffle?
Me. The DSi XL.
Yes.
That was released in Japan, November 2009. On my birthday in 2010.
That's right.
March 28th, 2010.
Did you get one for your birthday?
And that sold for $189. So this was the first kind of large format. This was a big change because at that point it was like electronics, as they go on, they get smaller.
Yeah.
And the Game Boy Advance culminated with the GBA Micro, which was kind of a joke of like how small
barely
it was.
Hold it, yeah.
I liked it, but it was like maybe we've gone too far here. And now it's like, actually changing this. People want a bigger screen.
Yeah.
And we had some real interesting ideas of like what are the benefits of this.
Yeah, it was so interesting because this was the time when like we were also in the Wii era, where the seniors were bowling, you know, and it was the 9 to 99 strategy of like, we got to reach all the people, and no matter how old they are, they got to play a video game or whatever. And so that was what the DSi XL became. It was for like old people. And it really became like, even remember we were talking about the colors?
Yes.
It had like this two colors that it launched with. One was like a wine burgundy red.
Burgundy, like a dark red.
And then one was like this like chocolate
mahogany brown or something.
Yeah, it was like grandpa and grandma's DSi, XL.
Yeah.
And I remember they were saying like, oh yeah, we need to make the fonts bigger so people could see the screen.
But it was also like, play socially, like have a friend look over your shoulder.
And then this is when we had the books.
Yes.
Hold it this way. Hold it.
101 classic 101
books.
Whatever the number was.
And then there was also crosswords, the crossword games that we were really like pushing at the time.
It also came with the larger stylus. You could have the small one, but it also came with that big,
big
actual
chunky one.
pen-sized one as well.
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, that whole marketing was a bit strange.
Very strange marketing. It was literally marketed towards like senior citizens.
I remember Japan went even harder on the older player angle.
They had so many ads that showed like grandma, playing.
But I mean, it was amazing, like going to like a screen that was that much bigger.
It's
like,
true. It was
this is life changing.
And it coming from the light.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, whoa, this is like crazy.
And
I mean, we both upgraded to the DSi XL.
Yeah, and those first colors were strange, but then they did have the Dragon Quest Blue, which I still think is like the best color.
Beautiful.
The best color they've done.
Really beautiful.
Of a handheld since.
They also had that like layer of clear
plastic
on top, and there was like this crazy story in an Iwata ass.
That was really nice.
I really love that story where the guy that was in charge of the hardware design moved to China for like 8 months or whatever, because they really wanted the the effect of that clear plastic to be like a droplet of water across the top of the system to make it, because they wanted it to be classy.
He had to ruin the rest of his life to do it, but he did it.
Maybe he's still in China. Who knows? He's like never gotten out. But like it was like the plastic would like fall off. Like they couldn't get it completely smooth. Like there was so many issues with doing that effect. But then he did it. He figured it out.
He's a hero.
And it was beautiful. There you go.
Inside Nintendo, what do people think of the DS?
Yeah, so again, we weren't there when it first launched in 2004, but I started at Nintendo in 2007 in September of that year. So it was like right during like the start of the holiday season in like the midlife of the DS. And so they were like well on their way in terms of like doing well, you know, like it had become quite successful at that time. It was very much in the days of like the blue ocean strategy that we were talking about, and Wii was out at the time as well. So they were fully embracing that, like we are a gaming an entertainment device for everyone. And so I think they were feeling themselves on that. They had some interesting marketing around the DS, like the touch screen. They had some of those like really funny like touching is good ads where it was just like the finger. Some unfortunate visuals where the finger did not look like a finger but looked like something else. But they were like fully embracing like how they had zagged away from, you know, sexy Sony and their PSPs and like the graphical wars that, you know, other consoles were in. So they had fully like embraced that other side of the of their business.
Yeah, I mean this is
pretty cool.
This is really where like the modern direction of the company was conceived and you know very much continues on to this day.
Yeah.
And you know they had these two products that were just huge hits. Like they had the Wii and they had the DS, and I think the Wii got more of the shine because it was even more unconventional than the DS, and because it was a home console, you know, the graphics were a bit more impressive, so like people would often, you know, point to that or connect with that. He also had something like Wii Bowling, which was like
seniors bowling,
a transformative, like completely different kind of thing.
Wii Sports,
but the DS was, I mean, in terms of units sold, the DS actually sold a lot more than the Wii. So I think there was like quietly inside like this understanding of like, no, this is actually at least as important as the Wii and maybe actually a little bit more. Yeah. And we would have to do like that's the hard thing about having these multiple platforms.
You had to market
we
both.
Had one marketing team. It's like we have to find a balance. We have to find a balance of how do we support these two things that are, you know, they're kind of related, but they're on a different path.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was not always easy.
Super hard, and now it's very easy when you just have the one thing, which is Switch. You can just focus all your energy on that.
Yeah, and we didn't have people like, oh, I'm dedicated to working on the Wii, or I'm dedicated to
You would just switch off.
No, it's like you're just a Nintendo employee. You work on everything.
You work on everything.
Yeah.
Like, too bad if you're tired.
Right.
Yeah, I do remember this being like a time where Nintendo like really fully embraced like we are going in a different direction and we're like really happy about it and it's doing well for us.
Yeah.
Like this is going well for us. Like this is the right path for us to be on, and it completely changed sort of the trajectory of the company and into what it is today, and really set the foundations for, you know, Wii U, which was not a success, but also for Switch. It always pushes in that direction of innovation versus like graphical stuff.
And it's a little bit, you know, like the Switch now, where it's like it was so popular and so good and so beloved that they kind of did, you know, roughly the same thing with the 3DS. It's like we got some gimmicks that we added on. We came up with a couple other ideas. We made it more powerful. Like there probably are some, you know, we'll see what happens with the Switch 2, but
there's probably some similarities in the trajectory of these two things.
There's some historical precedent to what they do in this sort of
3D Switch 2
scenario.
Would be terrible.
Interesting to look at. You made a note about shovelware here.
I did.
What do you want to say about shovelware?
I was just thinking that like this was the era where shovelware really started to become a thing. Yeah. And it was both on both ends. We got the shovelware on both the Wii end and also the DS end. And I have a personal like traumatizing memory of like, because we would catalog every single game that was published on Switch. On DS and on Wii, and we would get like cartons and cartons and boxes of
Why did we have this?
It was supposed to be for like historical archiving.
And what happened to these?
I think the next assistant took this over, so I don't know. I did it as part of my job, and I passed it on to the next person that took that job. But
a lot of good stuff in there, though.
you could go in those drawers and get some stuff, but there was also like 10,000 games about horses and what was it, like my Imagine Baby?
Yeah, Imagine Babies.
The Imagine series. Remember that? But it was truly like, and also this was like, you know, physical games was still like really king at this point. So you just got like literally hundreds of thousands of shovelware.
Yeah.
And now we see this, you know, very prevalent in like places like the eShop, where you just don't have any quality control. Anything can just get on there, and it's just complete trash, you know. But yeah, I remember that being like a really big deal. It on the one hand, it shows how popular and successful you are because like everybody wants a piece of this pie. But on the other hand, it's like uncontrollable, the quality of what's coming to your platform. So yeah.
Some of those were big sellers though.
Oh yeah.
Like not on the Carnival games. That was a huge seller on the Wii.
There you go.
That I think you could potentially describe as shovelware.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting how some of that just connected with people.
Exactly.
Where do you rank the DS? If you were ranking all Nintendo hardware, where would you put the DS?
Pretty high.
Where though?
Let's see. So they had. What other innovations did they have? They had like the
let's
Switch.
Let's go through
the innovations.
The major innovations of the Nintendo DS: dual screens,
touch
gaming, handheld online play. We have not talked about that at all.
That's pretty crazy.
Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, like being able to play Mario Kart to that fidelity on a DS was insane.
It was shocking.
In 2000,
download play.
Whatever year that was. And you could do download play, single cartridge play. Mario Kart had that. I remember Tetris DS was a big game that had that. It's like you could just beam it to these 8 people. Like what? They don't even need to have the game?
So cool.
This seems like it makes no sense. This is technical wizardry, but also maybe bad business. Like make people buy the thing. I don't know.
No, but it's cool.
Yeah, but they had to be like, who was the character? There was one character there where he had to be in Mario Kart if you had download play. I forget who it is. Like Shy Guy or something.
I think it's Shy Guy.
Yeah. And I mean, you name it. The online play, like even to this day, it's like, wow, this little thing could do that?
Yeah.
Those games are really good, like online games.
Right. Maybe top 3?
Top 3, okay. Yeah, I probably have it in that same area as well.
I mean, back in the early 2000s, you know, we're not even in the 10s yet. At this point, like, wow, this is a feat of technology, you know, technological advancement, and like you were doing things that sounds pretty mundane these days, but back then it was like this has never been done before.
Yeah,
like, it is incredible.
Yeah, it's a combination of, you know, the hardware being this kind of Swiss Army knife that could do anything, meeting this incredible software library. It's like any type of experience I want, I'm going to get it on this.
Yeah. Wow, really.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So looking at like the legacy of the system, like sales wise, like depending on whether you believe old Jim Ryan, it's either like the first or second best selling piece of gaming hardware ever. 154 million units sold.
Yeah, Switch has not surpassed this yet, as we saw today.
No, it's got like 10-ish
got
or so to
a little bit to go. So it's still Nintendo's best selling.
Oh yeah.
You know, piece of
hardware.
And
the PS2 is right around there again, depending on who you want to believe. Non-games, introducing non-games to the masses. This was like a big and controversial thing with Brain Age, Nintendogs, all those games kind of that.
100 classic books.
Personal trainer, fill in the blank.
Cooking, walking, all that stuff.
Yes, that was a major innovation, and it also definitely fit the idea of expanding the gaming audience.
My mom had a DS.
Did you give your mom a DS? I gave my mom a DS too.
She had the DSi
She didn't really use
XL. Oh. I gave her 100 classic books. I gave her the crossword game. I tried to get her to play Animal Crossing. What was her reaction to this? She played Brain Age. She really liked it.
She really liked it?
She liked it.
My mom maybe used it once and then she put it away.
Yeah. My mom used it for a couple of months, I think.
Okay.
She did like Brain Age a lot, and she did like reading the 100 classic books.
She read the books on there?
She liked the books. She thought this was before Kindle. This was before Kindle. And she would travel. She would go to like China and stuff.
Not before a book.
But then you had to take your book, and it's very heavy.
All right.
A lot of books, 100 books is pretty heavy.
Fair enough, yes.
Right?
Broadening of touch gameplay, like we were saying, that was the first time anybody had really seen that. More association with backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
It just had that GBA slot right in the bottom.
That's right.
I think for the DSi, they phased that out. But for the original DS Fat
it was there.
and the DSi, it was there. And like that's a lot of effort. We built a whole different slot for you to put the cartridge in that's different from where the DS card goes. I think it kind of plays into a lot of people's expectations and memories of backwards compatibility. Like, no, you need to do this.
Yeah.
As we look ahead. And then, just finally, like, alongside the Wii, embracing that blue ocean and riding it out to victory and big money.
You're on like a dolphin.
Yes.
Just like that Yakuza screenshot.
Exactly.
And there's money just flowing behind you.
It prints money GIF.
Yes.
You need to insert the...
We'll insert it here.
Insert the GIF. It prints money.
Insert the GIF. Because it did. It did print the money.
It really did.
It printed it for a long time. And it was just this little thing that just did everything.
Yes.
It's kind of amazing, right?
Any final thoughts on Nintendo DS that you would like to share?
I miss it. It makes me miss the DS generation. It makes me want a tiny little DS Lite that is pink again.
Well, it is an interesting question of like, what are they going to do with these games long term? Because there's a great library.
We were talking about that. Yeah, this is.
What do you do?
This is the library that I feel like is ripe for remakes, remasters in the Switch 2 generation, because original Switch had the luxury of the Wii U ports, because no one had a Wii U, so who cares? This is new to you. And that's how they were able to maintain this like insane release calendar on Switch that made this thing so successful. DS though, that is the moneymaker for Switch 2. Like if you want to keep that software lineup like super strong, figure out a way to remaster these DS games.
Yeah.
Get over the touchscreen thing.
We're starting to see some examples.
Yeah.
And I
the
hope
Castlevania game, that was pretty cool.
I hope that becomes a trend.
I think that Nintendo has a huge opportunity to do that here.
I agree.
And I'm hoping to see like a ton of DS games come to Switch 2.
Yeah.
Here's how I just convinced myself that Switch 2 is a dual screen. 4K.
I wouldn't hate it.
Pink
Should
DS
dual screen gaming come back? It was pretty great.
I actually wouldn't hate it. Do you guys think that it should come? You tell us. I now that I've been like my memories of my rose colored my DS Lite
completely nostalgic yourself.
Pearl pink colored glasses are on. I'm feeling fuzzy and warm and happy. Now I just want this back. So maybe my memories are skewing my judgment, but I don't think it would be a bad idea.
I'd love it. We asked our Patreon subscribers for their favorite DS memory, and we got flooded with responses.
This was the most responses I've ever seen.
Absolutely
It was amazing. I love it.
I picked 3, but it was hard to pick just 3. But thanks everybody who sent in a response. First is from Jess Hawk. My fondest memories of the DS are high school trips across the state playing DS. Play Mario Kart on the bus with everyone that had a DS. Though not able to play all the tracks, it was a humbling experience to be able to have everyone play together without having to own the game. Games are so much more expensive when you're a child with no income and only able to afford or receive a few games a year, so having DS Download Play was a lifesaver that created so many epic moments on those long, late bus trips with so many fellow classmates that I may not have connected with otherwise.
I love that. It's so true. So true.
Thane Gaming says, I cried at a dinner party in front of my mom's friends when the DS first came out because I could not get the voice commands to work properly and my Nintendo would not listen to me. I was scolded, but hey, I passed the tutorial that night and learned to be patient with my little virtual doggy friend. Yeah, those four. I don't know. We did not list voice commands in the great innovations of the Nintendo DS.
I remember that little dog was very cute.
Yeah.
I had a little dog that looked like my puppy in real life.
Yeah.
And I would definitely scream at it in the DS voice.
People love Nintendogs.
It's a good game.
Can't argue with that. And then finally, Joshy Josh says, my favorite Nintendo DS memory is playing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl with my friends in my neighborhood growing up as a kid. My best friend had a pool in her backyard, so we would spend our summer afternoons swimming, hanging out, and would constantly be battling and trading Pokemon.
It's like an idyllic summer.
In Diamond and Pearl. To this day, 20 years later, I still have some of the Pokemon that my friends traded me in my Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. Those memories I made in the summers of 06 and 07 with my Nintendo DS and my friends have carried through into my adult life, as I still use those Pokemon that were traded to me in Diamond and Pearl in the current Switch games.
I might cry.
Put that in your book too.
Oh
my gosh.
that's very
Joshy Josh.
sweet, Joshy Josh.
Wow.
I really love that. Wow. Oh, the DS.
That's amazing.
That's amazing, really.
And yeah, a lot of people pointed out, like, this was peak Pokemon.
Yeah.
On the DS for
There's
them.
some good Pokemon games.
Because of the Pokewalker. It all comes back to the Pokewalker.
Pokewalker was cool.
I want to walk
like,
with a Pokemon.
Mr. Iwata opening up his
a bandolier of Pokewalkers. He would like take off the jacket of his like expensive
wearing like a three-piece suit, and it'd be like
he's Pokewalkered out.
And then he would sit. So he would do this thing where he always had a lot of devices with him, like MacBook, iPad, phone. Many DSs, like multiple, like probably like one of each DS regular, DS Lite, DSi, DSi.
And it only became more when he was street passing.
And then he would street pass with but then he would sit down in a meeting and he would like put all his stuff down and it'd be like a good 5 minutes of him like laptop, iPad, and then Pokewalker, and then like, you know, all his other stuff, and he'd have his little, give him a lot of room because he would have like a big spread of stuff. And then he'd be smiling and happy.
He was living large.
He'd living large.
That's right.
It was good times. I love it.
The Nintendo, bring it back. Bring back the DS.
That's what we need. Switch 2 is now the Nintendo DS.
We need a time machine. That's what we need.
Oh.
All right, let's talk about the news. Last week, did we get to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X? We did.
A little bit.
We did, yes.
Yes, we talked about how they announced it.
It had just been announced, yes. So
Yeah,
Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition has been announced. People are pointing out that video is getting big numbers on YouTube.
Yeah, people are very excited about that.
A lot of excitement.
Yes.
Something people are maybe not less excited about. There are concerns of censorship in this version of the game.
Yes.
Because apparently, this is interesting, globally, the game is based on the Western Wii U version of Xenoblade Chronicles X, even in Japan.
Oh, how interesting.
And
that had the two things that they removed.
There were two main things that they removed that I guess are going to be permanently out of this game. One of them in the character creator, kind of a chest slider.
Yes.
If you'd like to adjust that, you can do so. What?
Great.
Demonstrating here.
Good.
And then there was also some costumes that you could equip on one of the characters who's 13 years old. That they made more conservative for a certain 13-year-old character. Those are the main things that were removed. Are you up at night wondering what could have been?
I mean, censorship is always going to be this topic around this. This is the thing that happens, you know, when you talk about it. Yes, in when you look at it from this particular instance of no, you probably shouldn't be putting a very skanky outfit on a 13-year-old. But it's just one of those things where it becomes like a slippery slope, and then it's like, what are you censoring? Where do you draw the line? Is it your responsibility to censor it?
Are you playing God?
Exactly.
Morality police.
Exactly.
And so on.
So yeah.
This was also notable because like Nintendo was doing a fair amount of this around the same time.
They were.
Like Fire Emblem, there was face petting.
The face petting,
That was a feature that was taken out, so it just became kind of this narrative of like, oh, you know, Nintendo is taking this stuff out in the West, and like, is it that big of a deal? What's the problem?
Right.
I think these costumes probably should stay out, but the other thing, it's like, you probably could have put that in, but honestly, like, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal,
I'm not
honestly.
losing sleep over
I personally am not losing sleep over it, but I don't like the idea of censorship, and I don't like the idea of it being the slippery slope of then it becomes this whole like thing of you have to actually, you have to like draw the line, or draw your own boundaries, and how do you do that? And should you be doing that as a company? I don't know. The answer to that.
I do think the fact that it's also out of the Japanese version is very interesting.
Yeah, globally, I guess they're doing this like across all these games.
These releases are more global in the first place.
Yeah.
Is there a butt slider? That's my big question.
Don't you dare censor that.
Keep that in place.
Keep it in place.
Mario and Luigi Brothership is out as of this podcast being released. Not as of us recording it.
Yes.
But as of it.
Oh, you're right.
And
this week.
The review scores hit earlier this week.
Yes.
And they are all over the place. The game has a Metacritic score of 80. OpenCritic is 79.
Yep.
But let's go through Eurogamer 4 out of 5. IGN 5 out of 10. Games Radar 4 out of 5. It's just Digital Trends 2.5 out of 5. It's all over the place.
Yeah. It
and
really is.
We have been trying to make sense of what it means. So again, I feel like you might bail out on this game.
I'm not going to bail out.
You said that you watched or you read the IGN review.
No, I read.
And you were deeply concerned.
I read because the reviews are so polarizing. Some reviewers are giving it like 8s and 9s.
Yeah.
And some reviewers are giving it 5s and 6s. So I was reading the outlier reviews to see what one side was saying and what the other side was saying. And you know what, you and I are both like this. We don't put too much stock in reviews. We do have, a lot of games we play and make our own opinions about it. But it's good to understand what's happening here because this is the first time that we've seen in a while where there has been such polarizing reviews on a Nintendo game, So, yeah, I read both sides of it, but there were some things that the IGN and the reviews that were in the 5s and 6s that were saying that did concern me, which were things that we both did not like when we were playing these games, which is like it's very tutorial heavy. There's a lot of like NPC chit chat. It's a very slow paced game. It takes a really long time for you to like get it going. There was a lot of complaints about how a lot of the quests are padded. Like fetch quests that are very padded.
Especially at the end of the game, they said.
Yes. Those are things that I disliked in these games. So if it's a huge percentage of what this game is, then that's unfortunate. But the good reviews are saying, things like the battle mechanics. Actually, the bad and good reviews all said the battle mechanics are excellent, which is really great. Yeah. Very polarizing on the humor of the game, which is an important aspect of the series. So many reviews are like, this game is not funny at all. I didn't crack a smile the whole time. I'm like, what? And then other people are like, I laughed the whole time. So I'm like, well, you know what? This is one of those things like humor is very subjective. And sometimes some people find something funny that you don't. So it just depends on, humor is just hard. Comedy is hard to do because everybody thinks different things are funny. So that's just kind of what it is. It's hard. Yeah. It's really hard. So I'm not going to put too much stock in that.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. Like the IGN one, who came from Logan Plant, who talks about how he's a longtime fan of the series. Like this does not understand what the series was about.
Yeah.
But then there's other reviews that are like, this is the best the series has ever been. So it's just hard to reconcile. Like,
exactly.
How did that happen?
Exactly.
So, but still, like, an 80 score is not that far off from what some of these entries in this series has been.
Right.
So I'm not deterred. I'm still going to play it. I'm still excited to see for myself.
Yeah. And then I'll trust your review of it because I'm not going.
Well, what if I'm like, this game sucked? We can't do a spoiler cast on this. What if I say that?
Then we got to pick a different game.
This game is terrible.
Then we got to pick a different game. They also pointed out some like pretty major performance issues, which concerns me.
I'm always interested. I really like to see those for myself.
That's the thing. Like they said, the Echoes of Wisdom had really serious performance issues, and I barely had any.
I didn't really notice any of those. So
that's just me, though.
I'll see for myself on that.
But again, people are like almost every review complained about performance issues.
Before we came in here, you're like, so what version of Dragon Quest are you getting? Dragon Quest.
You freaked
3
out
HD
when I
2D.
asked you this question.
I was not ready to answer that question. I'm still thinking about it.
I'm getting it on PS5.
I need to see some videos. I would like to hear some firsthand experiences from Switch players.
No.
I don't know.
The game is too beautiful to not have it run on PS5. It's too beautiful. You played it at Tokyo Game Show. You loved it on PS5. You walked around that town for like 30 minutes looking at the lantern glow.
I did.
I don't know. Anyhow.
You can't do that on the Switch? Are you sure?
I don't know. I don't know.
This happened shortly after we recorded last week, but it's such big news we had to talk about it. So Sony shut down the developer behind Concord, Firewalk Studio. I'll read the line from Herman Hulst, who's co-CEO. Did the other CEO agree with this? What that guy
How come he
have to
didn't
say?
get quoted? What if it's like
Well, he's
Hulst and...
He's the more like, creative.
This could be like a Kit and Krysta
side,
situation.
yeah.
Kit and Krysta said,
It's like, keep me out of this. Keep my name out of this. Certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players, and as a result, we took the game offline. We spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication. Can we stop using that word? Just say we shut it down. We pulled the plug.
I mean, I agree that you need to be... Stop being
These
like...
business euphemisms.
Yeah, don't do that, because you know what they're doing. They're trying to soften the blow. But what you're doing is you're like shutting it down, you know? So it is annoying that they say things like that.
So we're learning more about the nature of the relationship with Sony and Firewalk. Apparently the original deal for the game was over $200 million. Multiple people have said that. But even that was not covering everything. And the acquisition, Sony did acquire the studio as well. So it's actually more than that, potentially significantly more. We spent, I think earlier this year and many times talking about how Sony's walking this tightrope with this type of game, these very expensive AAA games. And so far they have been able to avoid like a catastrophic failure with one of these games.
Yeah, if it doesn't pay off, it's...
Now they have it. This is about as catastrophic as it gets.
Yeah, $200 million.
What is the impact of this on Sony's plans and output games-wise?
Well, I honestly hope they learned the hard lesson. Because I really think that they had swung so far to that one side where they only were doing the same kind of AAA, super expensive, like those type of game where, the stakes were so high. If it wasn't like a raring success, it's like detrimental for them.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what happened. So now they've learned that lesson. It probably feels terrible. And it probably is very, scary from a business perspective to have this happen. But this just proves why you need to have like games of all sizes. Astrobot, another one that maybe helps to prove that a little bit.
I hope that the 1-2 punch of Astrobot and Concord helps to like really drive home like, oh yeah, this...
Learn the lesson.
This thing worked, this thing really didn't work.
Yeah, that was the perfect juxtaposition of those two things, right?
That's why it's a 1-2 punch. See?
I feel like kya is more like kicking. Pow pow is more like punching.
Okay,
like
I mean, you can say what you like when you're doing your 1-2 punch if it ever happens.
See?
But
anyways,
I mean, they have to. And
yeah, they have to. And now maybe they'll be more balanced in the way that they consider games that they're making, different sizes, different scopes, what audience are these games reaching. Like really figure that out and then have like a mix. So if one thing collapses on one side, not all the other stuff doesn't fall apart too.
Right.
But
it's also just like so galling. In college, I studied business, and we would often read these Harvard Business School case studies. It's like somebody needs to do one on this because it's like, how did you get to this point where you release this and everybody's like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome, this is great, and then you release it and nobody cares.
A week later,
like, did anybody? I'm sure some like.
No one rang the alarm bells.
What was the group think that was happening, or like we're so pot committed to this, like we cannot, or just like we're just completely delusional because everything else we put out is this big success. Like,
and also like you've
what happened?
You've been developing.
How did this happen?
You've been developing this game for a long period of time. Is the thing. So you had all this time to like really understand the market, really understand the audience for this game, the potential audience, the potential growth. At which point, in the cycle. No alarm bells went off when you saw all of these other same type of games.
And
really
I think for us, like when they first announced this in the State of Play, we were like, "This looks like kind of lame." Like within a minute.
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody else, came to that same conclusion.
And also, like, look around you. Like these types of games are not as popular anymore. That trend has passed.
Well, it's consolidated. It's like everybody's playing Fortnite and nobody's getting off Fortnite. So there's two takeaways that I see a lot of people rallying around, which is one is like these games like are invincible. These games that people play like, Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, like that type of game, it's like people are so invested in those and so embedded, like they're not really interested in anything else. They just want more of that.
Well, they've spent too much time to be interested in something else.
Right.
They have like built their entire.
They spent too many V-Bucks.
life in there. Their friend groups are in there. Like, why would they leave?
And the other thing is just the games take so long to make now that if you think like, all right, we're going to capitalize on this trend.
That's the thing that I think.
The trend could be long gone.
I think that's so stupid.
By the time this game is done.
Yeah, because it's going to take you 5 years.
So again, that's been old Herman Hulst here is going to have some work to do of like, how are you overhauling this pipeline?
Yes.
Maybe the other co-CEO can say, hey, in the executive washroom, can take him aside. Herman, I have a question for you.
Is that what you're going to do to me?
Seems to be, well, we're not sharing a washroom, so. Herman, everything's going great in technical land over here. Check out how cool the PS5 Pro. Oh, wait.
Oh, no.
That's his 1-2 punch.
Kapow!
Yeah. Yikes.
Yikes.
Remember this one? We always do at the Game of the Year, biggest news story. We have a lot of good options for that this year.
Really do.
This is going to
Bombshell.
be...
It's called Bombshell. News story,
Bombshell of the Year.
Say it right.
That's the news.
That
Games we're playing. I want to hear you talk about Dragon Age. I have a question about Dragon Age that I have been sitting on for a couple days now that I want to ask you in this podcast.
Tell me your question first.
Well, I want you to talk about your... it's better after you talk about it.
Okay. So I have been playing Dragon Age. I've been playing for quite some time now. I'm probably about 10 hours in to Dragon Age at this point. And, you know, I really like this game. I know that
Why do you sound so defensive?
I'm not trying to be defensive, but I do know that there are, like, again, kind of polarizing opinions about this game. And I am a Dragon Age fan. I have played many, if not all, of the other Dragon Quest games.
Age
games. You were just talking
I'm a huge fan of Dragon Quest.
Dragon Age! I really liked Inquisition. I think that's probably my favorite one. But this game is very different than that. Not just in like the art style and sort of the general, you know, look of the game, but the combat is really different. The gameplay mechanics are really different. A lot of people say that this is like a baby version of Dragon Age.
Did they basically do what they did with Final Fantasy?
A little bit. It's kind of like what happened with Final Fantasy and then Final Fantasy 16.
Right. Is this This is action combat?
It's action combat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no more real turn-based or anything real time, like not anything like that. So, yeah. So it's action. It's action.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you still get some good Dragon Age things that are in this game.
Such as?
Like, you do get a very wide cast of playable or party members.
Okay.
That you are adding to your merry band of, you know, heroes or whatever you want to call it. I now have almost everybody. I'm only missing one person, I think, because it's only one blank little slot in my like select your party screen.
And you don't have them in your group all at once, though.
No, you get to pick. Okay. Sometimes you get to take 2 with you. Sometimes you get to take 1 with you. For the last couple of quests, it's been me like getting more characters to join me, like getting more people to join me in my big quest. So they do have a lot of that. There's really great, like, you know, they have like the sort of like the Inquisition table where everyone gathers around the table to talk the strategy. There is some old characters returning, like Morrigan is back. You guys will remember Morrigan if you played Dragon Age games in the past.
So it really is a continuation of those previous games.
It is, but it definitely feels very different. Like it has like this, in the best way I can describe it, and this is not insulting in any way, but it does feel like a Disney movie.
Is the tone different?
Yes.
That seems to be quite
very different.
Right, like the look, kind of there's some like lightheartedness.
That's why I'm saying that it kind of feels like a Disney movie.
Okay.
It's like a Disney-fied in a way, and some people might be put off by that.
Sure.
But I like Disney movies, so I don't really mind it. But it definitely has like this kind of like, if we all work together, surely we'll win against evil. Like kind of very happy fairy tale, happily ever after kind of feel to it. And, you know, the dialogue feels that way as well. It's very sort of like encouraging and upbeat and, you know, it doesn't feel like dark or anything like that, whereas some of the other Dragon Age games did feel like that. But the story is still quite interesting. There's still like a very deep story. There's still a lot of character development. You're getting to know like like in this game, you have like a lot of different factions that you're getting to know, kind of like in Baldur's Gate, where you like kind of figure out, okay, so this party member belongs to this faction. You do have to make those like tough Dragon Age decisions where like both options are basically bad options, and no matter what you do, you will like have a pretty bad consequence on one side or the other. So I had to make one of those decisions recently, and the character that I did not help came back, and then I got a big screen that said, because you made your decision this way, this character is now this personality, and they will no longer do any of these things for you.
Oh.
So it is like very permanent in the way that you like make those decisions. And then, you're doing things like, there's a lot of good like character stuff. Like you're obviously doing a lot of like leveling up of your character, getting more powerful. I'm playing as a mage, of course. And you also, once you like level up your bonds with your party members, you can like level them up. So the sort of the progression of all your characters, all your party members, like super deep and still feels very Dragon Age. And yeah, I mean, I really like it. I think it's fun. Like I like this kind of like lighthearted approach to it, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Like I feel very, like I can't wait to play every night. I'm like very invested in the story. Like I really want to know what happens. I have a lot of fun playing it in this action style because it feels kind of like more fast paced. And again, as a mage, you just feel so powerful. Like I'm just like shooting lightning everywhere, and it looks really great. And you can still control your party members too. Like there's buttons to control their moves, but yeah, it feels very satisfying. So I really like it. I'm going to keep going. I wasn't sure if this game was going to grab me, but it definitely grabbed me.
My big question, I saw somebody mention who's playing this game that for them, this game felt a lot like Fable. And I need to know your assessment of that statement.
Doesn't have the humor really of Fable.
No?
No. Oh. Fable has like very fun, like that's the defining quality vibe of Fable, is like that British humor kind of. But it does have like similar sort of like fantasy-esque like storybook feel to it. I think if you're looking for like the Fable kind of humor, you won't find it in Dragon Age.
Okay.
But it definitely has like that kind of like more lighthearted qualities to it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's not trying to be funny. This game definitely isn't trying to be like funny, haha. There is like an option in the main character dialogue that you can pick that's always like make a joke. And that like if you choose that dialogue option, she makes like a pithy remark. But I wouldn't say that they're trying to be like funny, like Fable game is. Yeah.
I looked this game up on how long to beat.
It's like 50 hours?
I was confused because it said if you focus on the main story, it is 12 hours.
What?
Ranging up to like 60 hours if you're doing all the side stuff. And I was like, that doesn't sound right.
I don't think that's right, because I'm in like a 10-hour range, and I don't think that I'm close to beating the game.
I'm looking this up.
You're looking it up right now. Typing.
Yes. Where? Bring up the page. Here we go.
How long is Dragon Age?
16 and a half. Main story. Main plus sides, 59. Completion is 250. This seems weird. What's happening here?
So you do have like a bunch of different kinds of quests. So there is the main story quest, which I'm doing right now. And then there are these quests that you unlock as you increase your bond with different people. And then you can do like party member quests with them. There is like a bit of like romancing, not like Fire Emblem or Baldur's Gate
but
romancing.
But didn't old Dragon Age have romancing?
Yes, there is a little bit.
And this doesn't?
It does a little bit, but I don't think you can go as far as like Baldur's Gate, for example, if you know what I mean. There's some very hot characters in this game, I will say. I met one guy that was extremely handsome.
Yeah.
And he has a baby griffin, which is like a little baby. You guys know what a griffin is. And it's like chef's kiss perfection.
Okay.
He's always in my party because I love
right.
him. I love him and I love the baby griffin. Very, very attractive people in this game.
Great.
Good hair tech, too. The hair.
Oh, you were talking about the hair,
The hair tech. Whew.
I don't know what that means.
My character has her hair in like a ponytail.
Yeah.
And she like when she runs and stuff, it's like you can see like the strands of the like a lot of times when you look at hair in a video game, it's just like a blob of hair. Sure. But you can see like the individual strands of hair. I was like, wow, that's so cool looking.
All right.
I like it.
We will look forward to your continuing adventures of Dragon Age. Not Quest.
Not Quest. Although we will be playing Dragon Quest soon,
We will be playing that soon. We have both been playing Pokemon trading card game Pocket. Recently. That came out last week.
You're much higher level than I am now. What happened?
I think I like this a lot more than you do, apparently.
I'm having a little bit of a hard time learning.
Tell us why.
So I really like the opening the cards and the pulling the card, because I'm a gambler.
Getting a shiny card.
I'm a gambling man.
Oh.
And I do love that whole aspect. Like, it's very satisfying to open the pack but I don't think I'm learning the battle mechanics.
Have you been doing the tutorials?
I have been, and I think I'm not comprehending them well.
Oh, well, maybe I'll show you sometime, because it felt very straightforward to me.
Yeah, maybe because you're a Magic player.
And again, like I grew up playing Magic, not this, and I never really bothered to learn this, so I kind of kept it at arm's length, and it was like, well, I mean, how hard could it be? And this, once I finally went through the tutorial, I was like, oh, this is pretty straightforward stuff. But you do see a lot of, because both games were made by Wizards of the Coast, so there is just some similar concepts at play. I could probably get you up to speed on this.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. Like, I definitely understand some of the basics. Like, I know how to set the cards up. I kind of know how to start a game. But then once I get into it, it seems like other people have much deeper strategies that I don't understand.
Well, so this is a more compact version of the main game. And again, since I haven't played that, I had to check what exactly is different. So the deck size is down from 60 to 20.
To 20, yeah.
The number of cards that are on the table at once is different. So it's just a much more streamlined version.
I don't think I'm building my deck right. I think my deck is not.
There is an auto build option. Just have the game build it for you. Just do that.
I know, but I want to put my favorite cards.
Well, maybe just do that so you get a handle on it, and then you can play for real and make your own deck. That's what I did. That's what I did. Because I was I don't know what should go in a deck.
I know this isn't a fair comparison, but I keep somehow comparing it to Marvel Snap.
You're big into Marvel Snap.
I'm huge. I play that game every day.
So maybe that's a mental block for you.
I think it might be.
It's like that.
Because that game is another card-based game. It's not based on an existing physical card game. Yeah. And it's definitely much simpler than this, but I just felt like that was so much easier for me to get a handle on, and so much easier for me to understand what each card does.
I haven't played Marvel Snap in about a year, but that game is very accessible.
Yeah, I hope that this would be more accessible, but maybe it's just me. I want to know if other people who have never ever played a Pokemon TCG, never learned the rules at all. How do you guys feel about it? Because I did the tutorials, and I did all the things, and when they're guiding me through it, I can do it. But then I went online and I tried to play with somebody else a couple of times.
Oh, don't do that yet.
And I was
just play the computer.
I got completely worked.
Don't do that.
Maybe that was my problem. I was I feel like I get this, and then I was like, no, clearly I don't get this.
Yeah, I'm
I'm failing.
I'm about level 13, I think I was.
Yeah, I'm level 6.
Really enjoying it. But again, I
have you played online?
A little bit.
And how did you fare?
I've been doing all right.
Because they do let you select play with other beginners.
Yeah. No, I've been doing fine. I have been wanting to go through the computer matches first. I do think that's a good way to learn some of the tricks of the trade along the way. The game does have a lot of mobile game stuff where there's all the different currencies, and I still have some currencies I have no idea what this is for.
Yeah.
But the game does let you open a pack every 24 hours.
I think it's every 12 hours.
Or is it 12 hours?
12 hours, yeah.
And
you have those little extra things.
You get a lot of these hourglasses.
Yes, you can. Yeah, I never feel I can't open a pack.
I have heard that you will reach a point where you get a lot less of those. So you kind of want to build your base of cards now. But yeah, that's super fun, and that's kind of been driving a lot of the excitement of oh my gosh, I got this card, I got that card. I have a great Machamp deck. I got this amazing Machamp card.
Yeah.
The
what
Machamp.
What does it mean by having a Machamp deck?
Well, the main thing you're trying to do is get a powered up Machamp out there. Like that's my most powerful card that's in the deck.
Because you have to do that thing where you evolve them.
I do.
So you need to have all 3 evolutions in your hand.
Yes. So in a 20 card deck, I will have 6 cards dedicated to Machamping. I'll have 2 Machops, 2 Machokes, 2 Machamps to give me more chances to pull those cards. And then I have some other characters who need to, be easier.
That's why you're supposed to have multiple.
Easier to get out there that you can put out right away and can start doing some damage.
Yeah, because you can't put a level 2.
Because you have to power it up. Basically, every turn you're powering it up with energy.
I don't think I understand this.
So yeah, I'll explain this to you. You'll get it. But yeah, I'm really happy that the Machamp deck is doing okay and is viable.
That's why it's called that.
But then there's the other thing of are you mixing and matching different colors or types, like Pokemon types?
Yeah, I have that.
In your deck, do you have a lot of different types? Okay, that's a problem because
you're not supposed to do
that. Because
the
energy that you get, you might be pulling the wrong energy. I think for now you should just stick to a single type.
But then what if someone has a deck that's
You'll need to have multiple decks. I have 5 or 6 decks that I have ready because it's this is a water type, so I better have my lightning type.
But how do you know it's going to be a water type when you play?
Well, if you're playing the computer, I'll tell you.
But when you play, I'm just saying.
You're not going to know anyways. You can't just be I need to have every single hodgepodge of cards in here because who knows what they're going to have.
That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because what if they have all fire?
We'll talk about this later.
And then you only have grass.
I mean, sometimes you're just going to get screwed unless you have the tactics.
I don't have any of that. I don't have tactics or types.
We'll talk about this later.
I don't know what I'm doing at all.
We'll talk about this later.
This is going terribly.
I don't think you're very far from figuring it out, though. You're not far.
Oh, no.
You're not. But, pulling the cards is really fun. They do that same thing where it's not as flashy as Marvel Snap, but you can kind of look at it from different angles and it looks cool. Yeah. Marvel Snap, I think, does that a little bit better.
That's why I love that game so much. Because I'm always look at this card.
We have both been very interested and invested in this conspiracy theory with the packs.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this.
The bent corner theory.
Yeah.
Which
I think it's been debunked.
I think it's been debunked by now, but it was fun for a while while it lasted.
But you said you got good cards.
I did get good cards from those.
Which cards did you get?
I don't know. It's just
the EX ones?
So you can do this thing where when you open the pack that come out, you can kind of fan it and look. Yeah. And I got something there.
Yeah.
And I would pretty consistently get something like that, but people are no.
I do like the Wonder Picks too. You can pick from your friends.
You get here's 5 cards that your friend has. We'll shuffle them up and you can take one.
It's kind of nice, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of friends because we have our community.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I started strong with a really good friend group.
Yeah.
And they have good Wonder Picks, so thanks, guys.
Yeah, in our Discord, we have everybody's friend codes and ours as well.
It's really fun.
Which is really, really great.
It's really great.
And they're already doing their first kind of event with Lapras. You one day were we were opening packs together, and you were I really want to get a Lapras, and a second later, I opened it and it had a Lapras inside.
No, it was right after I said it. You're oh, look, a Lapras!
Oh, look, I got a Lapras, wow.
There's no trading it, or so you would have given it to me, huh?
I have multiple of those, so I'd be glad to do that. Yeah.
See?
You still don't have it?
No.
Oh, but anyway, this event now is, for a Lapras EX card is what you can get. And basically, you do these computer battles, and if you win, you'll get a event pack, which is a pack that has a single card in it.
Yeah, I like that.
But they're unique cards to that event.
That's cool.
And the one that you want to try and get is the Lapras.
I like that. That's a cool idea. That's a really cool idea. Yeah.
So we'll probably be checking in on this. Hopefully, we can get you over the hump. Because I think it's cool.
I think it's very cool. I think I just need to do more learning. But I really like a lot of aspects of it so far. It's just the battling that I'm huh?
All right, buckle up. I'm going to talk about Sonic and Shadow Generations.
Here we go.
I should preface this in case people don't know. Don't take anything that I have to say about this game as gospel, because I really don't know what I'm talking about. I don't play Sonic games. I don't like Sonic. It's well documented in the episode that we did for Sonic Week. But
you do like Shadow.
Do I? our good friend Katie at Sega sent me over a code, so thought you'd like to check this out.
You were invited to the wonderful Sega party.
And I was glad to. I've been playing this game a little bit for the past couple nights.
Yes.
And I'm going to report back. So, again, anything I say could be factually inaccurate. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't care also. So this game is kind of 2 games in one. Sonic Generations is a game that came out in the PS3 360 generation. And that was kind of like reimagined takes on like classic 2D Sonic.
Yeah.
So it's like you start in the Green Hill Zone, then you go to the Chemical Zone or whatever. But it's like, looks really nice. There's some different mechanics. There are some times where you're kind of running, Sonic is running straight. And,
instead of sideways.
It's not all just like 2D stuff. So that's kind of what Generations is. And then the Shadow side of it is, I believe, all new. See, this is where I'm like, I don't know. I think it's entirely new, and it's a game that's all about Shadow. And this game has a little like story explainer about Shadow before you start playing, and it's one of the most insane things I have ever seen.
What is it?
It just gets crazier and crazier and
like
crazier.
What?
It's like, well, Shadow was made by, I think this is Dr. Eggman? I think it's the same. They call him by his like full, like on his birth certificate. I was like, is that Dr. Eggman? I don't know. And he's like, he was created by him and his daughter or his niece or something. And then the niece died, and then Shadow freaked out, and then he fought the army. But it turns out that he was a clone of this, cosmic force. And
what?
This just keeps getting crazier and crazier. What were they thinking?
Wow,
Shadow.
This is very in depth for Shadow.
What am I doing right now with the Shadow?
Shadow.
Nonsense? Shadow. But this game is so we played all of those games for Sonic Week. The one that this felt the closest to, and again, could be completely wrong, is Sonic Colors.
Which is one of the good ones.
That was one that was pretty cool. It was kind of, again, a combination of stuff where you're, running from left to right, but also a lot of 3D elements. This one, you're getting like character upgrades. You can do these like little homing attacks. You can freeze time. There was a part where he grew wings like an angel and was flying around. I'm like, what in the world is happening here? I don't know. A lot of people have also compared like as it gets deeper a little bit to Frontiers, which is the one that we played on that stream.
I like that.
That's the more like open world
one. That
one.
was fun.
I actually didn't hate that game.
That game was actually really fun.
I thought that game had some good things going for it. But yeah, there was this hub world where there's all these like little challenges that you need to do to unlock stuff. And I've seen some people saying like, yeah, this is like really, really strong. And I think that was my takeaway. It was like, if you like Sonic, this is probably a good one of those.
It got really good reviews.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good one of those. It absolutely did not change my mind about Sonic, but I was like, I'm glad to check in and see what's going on with this.
Yeah. People seem to be like really into it.
I'm probably gonna get hate for this. I think it just feels like you're playing a QuickTime event, these games, where it's like there's so much that like you could put the controller down. It's like, well, we're doing the loop-de-loop, we're grinding on this rail, and it's like every now and then you'll press a button or you'll go from left to right, and it's like
don't think you play enough.
There's just not a lot of playing of these games. It's like they play themselves with like a little bit of input here and there, like a QuickTime event.
Yeah.
And it looks amazing. I'm sure it's like so much work for this dev team to do all the like camera, like whoa, the
cameras,
and it's going so fast, so we have to build so much world. I'm sure it's a ton of work, but it's like, is this worth? I was like, I'm not playing this game. I'm watching it.
You want to play it.
I want to play it.
Yeah. I get that. Just not the type of game mechanic that you really are connecting with.
Yeah.
And some people might like it.
And I don't think I ever will.
Some people love that idea of like a QuickTime event and like looking at the beautiful graphics.
But I think my days of a brazen Sonic hate are over.
I think it's over.
I earned the Sonic. What we call the Sonic support? No, Sonic.
What are you saying here?
Katie gave me an honorific. What was it?
Sonic supporter, ally.
Ally. Thank you. I'm a Sonic ally. So I'm doing my best. I'm trying to understand. I appreciate that people love the series. Yeah. It's just not for me. I'll leave it at that.
Maybe one day.
Yes, and again, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the series.
Yeah. Yes. COD Blops.
COD Blops 6.
You have beaten COD Blops.
The Blops have been codded. I finished the campaign, which was a lot of fun. Really liked it. Where did you stopped? Where did you stop?
I stopped at the end of...
Did you get to that casino level I was telling you about?
No.
That...
I stopped at the end of the Control lookalike level.
You finished that?
I finished it.
Okay, I think the casino one was maybe next. So yeah, there's a level in this it's kind of like a Monaco kind of casino where you're trying to like get into the vault. It's the Mission Impossible connection with this game becomes more apparent the more you play. It's like that's actually what this feels the most like. And then after that, there's like 2 or 3 more missions that are all pretty straightforward. We're just shooting stuff.
Right.
But that one was another really unique level. It did this thing that I thought was really slick where you would change, because you're like part of this team, you would change who you were controlling as you were handing off this key. You were like sneakily handing off this key card, and it would once this other person got the key card,
you were that
the
person.
perspective would change. But it was done in like this really slick way. I was like, oh, this is neat. This is cool. And
it's like a heist.
Yes, and then you'd be doing stuff in their perspective, and just like that. Bill Clinton rally one. It was like we had built this out.
It's like a full,
so much
scoped casino.
Yes, it was really like impressively done and just looked beautiful and amazing. And yeah, after that it was like shoot 'em out kind of stuff, which is Call of Duty's got to have that, so it's fine. But yeah, I like the campaign a lot.
And then after that the campaign's over, or like
So I'm playing on Xbox, so you get those achievements and for some reason, these were all categorized as rare achievements.
Yeah.
So it's like, does this mean not a lot of people are playing this campaign?
Oh, I saw that. Mine were all rare achievements too.
Like the one after I finished the game, it was like you beat the final level. It was like rare achievement. 1% of the players have done this. It's like,
oh, no one plays the campaign. People just play multiplayer, right?
It's kind of a bummer.
The campaign's so good.
The campaign was fun.
You should play
it. It's really short. Like you're not like.
No, but they're like they have friends that they're playing the multiplayer with.
So I did go into multiplayer after that. I wanted to play that. They give you a lot of these tutorials about this Omni.
That's right.
Omni shooting, which
did you feel Omni shoot?
That's a very advanced maneuver.
Oh.
What
is it exactly?
That I've seen and heard about a lot of people just making jerks of themselves, like trying to do some Max Payne stuff, but just like missing and getting blown away.
Oh.
So basically, it's like you can run in any direction. So it's like you're running backwards. You can actually sprint backwards, which is useful. That's useful.
Yeah.
But it's like you can also jump, and while you're jumping, you can turn and shoot in whatever direction.
I see.
And that's where people are
360 no scope.
Exactly. People are getting themselves into trouble with that. I see a lot of people try and do that.
And they get blasted out of the air.
And they're just missing. Because it's hard. It's like full speed. It's like things are moving fast. And you've got the other character moving
I don't think
too.
I could react that fast.
It's a lot to handle.
I could barely walk and stand and shoot.
I think it's great. I think it's a great feature for like competitive players, like more serious players.
Yeah.
But like for me, I was like, I'm not doing this. This is too much.
How did you hold up online?
I did okay actually.
Really?
Yeah, I played
you gotta know the maps.
I did maybe like a half dozen games. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
There were some maps where I was like, I don't know where the safe place is, and I just felt like a sitting duck, and I got bored. I didn't do well. But the other maps that were a bit more like contained, I did fine. Like I still have a little like I played, a lot of those earlier Call of Duties a fair amount.
Yeah.
Not like
What gun
crazy.
do you like to use?
I was starting from near zero, so I just used like the default gun, which seemed fine.
Okay.
It's like you get different scopes and like little
Upgrades
color
and
patterns
things,
and little doodads you can put on it, like a keychain or something. Whatever, I don't need that. But it was fine. It was really fun. Ran well. I was in some group, like people don't turn off the chat, so you hear other people. It's like I was in some group with some like 12-year-olds, but they were having some very wholesome conversation.
They were?
Yeah, like one guy was trying to it sounded like he was giving them like a pep talk for something that happened at school. I was like, this is.
How did you get into this?
I don't know. I think it was just like the chat was on for the team, and these guys were in a group and they were having a conversation. It was kind of cute. Oh. Yeah. You'll do better on the test next time.
Really?
So you can do it. Yeah, they were being like...
Well, that's very sweet.
It was not the
It was not toxic.
It was not toxic. I did not report anybody.
That's good.
Yeah.
Aww.
And then the other big mode, there's 3 main modes, is zombies.
Yeah, zombies.
So I did do a game of that. And that's kind of like a cooperative like horde mode sort of thing where the zombies just keep
come
coming
at you, yeah.
And it's like how far can you get? And I think I was in a group with some pretty advanced players.
You guys got pretty far?
We got to level 20.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Which
I don't know.
I don't know.
How many levels are there?
I mean, it seemed to be getting pretty crazy by then. Like
I was shotgun.
I was dying really fast, but they kept reviving me. And they were holding out and doing really well, and like the types of zombies that were coming out, like these gigantic things. So it's like, oh, we must be getting pretty deep into this.
Oh.
And the more levels you get, like your normal gun is less effective.
Yeah.
So you need to. There was like some way that they were like powering up these guns. I don't exactly know. But that's another fun thing too.
Okay.
That game was like, I don't know. We played that for like a half hour before we got wiped out. So
it's not bad.
So yeah, it's a really nice
good
package.
game, yeah.
Really good. Again, like if you're interested, it's on Game Pass.
At least play the campaign because it's truly really fun.
And again, I haven't played a Call of Duty in 10 years, so this was a positive.
Kind of cool.
Positive. I think I'm done with it for now, but that was a positive.
Yeah. Well, you got to play Mario
return.
Luigi now. You got stuff to do. You got to play that game and give me your review.
I do. Yes. Finally, Nintendo Music.
Yes.
Playing.
We are playing it in the car. Yes. Playing it.
Already in the under a week since this came out, 2 big updates. Mm-hmm. Super Mario Wonder and Donkey Kong Country 2 have come out.
They have, yeah.
That is a promising
cadence of new stuff.
Path to the not drip feed that we really need.
Yes.
What do you think of this?
I have been enjoying it. I have been using it. I'll definitely listen to some music, if I'm doing something around the house or if I'm in the car or something like that. So, yeah, I've definitely kept on using it since I downloaded it when it was announced last week or whatever it was. But yeah, I find it to be very easy to use, and I find myself going back to it and checking out like some songs from. Sometimes I think to myself like, oh, do they have this song? And I go and like look for it, So that's kind of fun.
I think it's great. I think the functionality is like for Nintendo, like surprisingly
on point.
On point. Like there's so many ways they could have messed this up or made it more complex than it needed to be.
It's actually quite clean. Yeah.
Like it's
modern
it really
feeling.
is like pretty close to other music players that people know and already use, which is surprising. And yeah, like I can kind of see, like I actually went and played last night like a couple levels of Donkey Kong Country 2 because I was like, oh yeah, that game. Yeah. I should go check that out. So it's like you can kind of see like how this works. Like how this
music will earworm itself into you.
Yeah, so I do wonder like how strategically they'll be releasing music in the future to kind of juice some of these other games or series that they really want to get into people's minds. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm really happy with this, and I.
Do you think they will release the Mario Luigi soundtrack?
I don't know. That's a huge test.
On November 7th?
What their plan is.
Yeah. I would be curious to see that.
Yeah. But one of the things that's happening around this is this kind of controversy around the crediting of the artists, the musicians, who are not specifically mentioned by name.
Right.
What's the deal here?
Well, yeah, so a lot of people have pointed out that Nintendo doesn't have, like, any of the composers credited, just the song and the game that it's from.
Yes.
On the one hand, I don't know why people are surprised, because this is a very Nintendo thing to do, where it's very much, like, about the game itself or the music from that game. It's never about the individual, it's never really about the single person that composed it. Is really like a team effort.
So why does Nintendo put credits in their games?
People have said that. They're like, why do they even bother doing that?
They've been doing that for a long time, since like, I don't know, SNES games. Like, why do they do that?
I think that's like, you get a chance to credit like the whole team eventually, because the credits roll, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of people are in there that worked on this versus the one person that gets the credit for the song that they don't like, that kind of thing.
I think if they had some scenario to like undo that precedent and not include credits,
they might not want to.
I think they absolutely would not.
Yeah.
And they would do like, again, what Jason was saying for the old Blizzards, like developed by Nintendo.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. You'll never know. You'll never know who made this game.
And
they'll be under so much NDA, we'll never find out. It's made by Nintendo. Enjoy the game. Shut up.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think that they do let that slide. There's a precedent, obviously, but because like you do have the room to credit like a lot of people, it doesn't feel like one single person's being singled out. That's the thing that they don't really
versus
like.
the whole team.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't like it when it's like one person is given.
And their approach to credits is actually much more focused.
Yeah.
So again, I have been in credits in
Right.
games for Konami and Bandai Namco, whereas at Nintendo, it's strictly developers.
Right.
Which I think is good.
Yeah.
Because again, the Ubisoft credits that go for like hours
Hours,
and hours and hours.
yeah,
It's like, oh,
hours.
this was the senior comptroller in
Oh,
the
comptroller.
Ubisoft Romania office. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
The whole company gets shouted out.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Nintendo's very much like, you know, they don't like to single out that individual. They really don't like that. Scared of
Right.
that. I mean, I see where people are saying, like, give credit where credit is due, but and I kind of like, you know, wish they did that as well, because I would just like to know who worked on what. Like, I would just like to learn who worked on what.
Yeah, there's some good arguments of like, well,
Yeah.
if I like this artist, you know, I could click on them and see everything else that they did
Exactly,
and get into
yeah.
some other music that way.
Exactly.
On the flip side, what is the percentage of people that would actually do that?
Exactly. It is very, like, probably an outlier.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, like, we did see some things that came out where people were like, you know, I work at one of those Japanese development companies. Like, this is not really
Right.
the, you know, the precedent that we have in Japan.
Right.
Like, they just don't do. This is a very American thing that people do.
That's the thing. It's like, I don't think the people, you know, in Japan that created all this music, I don't think they're sweating this one bit.
That's my point too. Is like they don't feel bad.
No.
It's not like you're
They're
like,
like, yeah.
I need to like, you know, be the voice of the
Right.
sad group of people that are crying in the corner because they didn't get credited. Like, they don't care.
No, they're like, yeah, this is how it should be. I'm happy with this. I'm living my life. I'm doing my job. It's contributing to this cool project.
Yeah, like I'm
And
good.
that's enough.
Yeah,
so that's
I'm
where
good.
so that's where it starts to get like into a strange place where like people are offended, like or upset on behalf of somebody else. And it's like, are they upset?
But that person that you're upset,
do we know if they're upset?
they're not upset.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where
I
it
don't
can
think
get
they're
kind of into
upset.
a weird place.
Yeah. So that's why it is a little strange, because this truly doesn't actually, like, this does not concern you.
Right.
To be quite frank, like, it doesn't really.
Yeah, but I do wonder about, like, I should look more closely at somebody like David Wise, who did all the, you know, the Donkey Kong Country
Yeah.
music. Like, what did he's, because, you know,
I think he probably cares.
he might, I bet he does. And he's been out there tweeting like, oh, you know, my music from Donkey Kong Country 2, it's out there.
Yeah.
So he has a way, and people know.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is
And you know,
interesting.
he was a little bit upset, for example, that he wasn't in the credits for the Mario movie
Oh,
with the Donkey Kong rap.
That was Grant.
Grant.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was like that kind of thing.
True.
Where you maybe want credit for something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it depends on the individual, or like, you know,
Right,
whatever.
but within Nintendo itself, like if you are a Nintendo
Like the
employee
Nintendo sound
working
team,
on the
like,
sound
they don't
team,
care. Yeah.
they're like, we're glad to be anonymous.
Yeah. Actually, leave us alone.
Yeah.
Truly do not
So it's
talk to
interesting
us.
stuff. Well, actually, our first question is about Nintendo music, so let's get into that. Every question we get is from our Patreon family. Check us out at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. We got bonus Q&As, other exclusive content, early access, a great community.
Oh, yeah.
So much more. This question is from Zroid. I think the Nintendo Music app is surprisingly feature-rich and well-designed, especially compared to Nintendo's other effort at a mobile app, the NSO app.
Ugh.
With that said, besides the music content itself, what is your most wanted new feature or tweak to an existing feature which would make the experience even better?
In the music app?
I have two things.
Okay.
One is so simple.
More extended tracks?
No, so I use Apple Music. You do too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah.
I imagine Spotify has something like this, but when you open like an album, it has a star next to these are the most popular songs. I would love to have that, because if it's something I don't know and I'm opening up, here's 100 tracks,
300 tracks
from this game. It's like I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And it's like you could make an argument of like, well, people should experience the full scope of this. It's like, well, I just need to know what my starting point is.
Right.
Or like I know this song, I don't know what it's called. Where do I find it? Everybody knows a song, but I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
It's a nice little feature.
Yeah.
And then you can expand from there if you really like it.
Yeah.
I would love that.
That's a good feature. I would like shareable playlists.
Are we sure we can't do that?
I don't know.
I think I've seen some people saying they found workarounds to do this.
There's a workaround, but is there
it's
just
not,
like an actual way?
It could be easier.
Like in Apple Music, you basically can make a playlist and it's really cute. You can like add a little album cover and a title to the playlist, and then you can just like text it to that person.
Right.
So that would be fun.
That'd be nice, yeah.
And then that would be fun, a way for like us to share with the community. Like we have a music channel, for example, on our Discord. Like, wouldn't that be fun that we could, if we could share like a playlist, you know, with the community? That would be neat.
The other thing that I would like, since this is part of the Nintendo Switch Online, is maybe some sort of integration with like a Nintendo Switch friends list. So if you're listening to Donkey Kong Country 2 music, it'll set in your if you go into the friends, Krysta is listening to Donkey Kong Country 2.
That's cute.
It's not a big thing.
Yeah.
But it's
it feels social.
It's part of Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
So actually I'm going to move this question up because it's related. It is a little strange that it currently has no connection.
Yeah.
You could be somebody who doesn't have a Switch but maybe wants to get this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe you're like a big nostalgia person or something, like, oh, I just want this music. I'm not really into playing games anymore. That is kind of strange.
That's true. Like some kind of social aspect because it's online would be kind of neat.
And there is some discovery that happens on that list of like, oh, so and so is playing that. I don't know what that is, but I like their taste and I trust their taste, so I'm gonna check it out too.
Yeah. I think that they should do more of the extended tracks or whatever.
Are a lot of them not?
Not all of them are.
Okay.
They should, because some of that music is real short. You know.
I guess most of the stuff that I've seen you can extend, but I know people were saying some of the stuff in Donkey Kong Country you couldn't. I don't know how they decide that.
Exactly. Just make them all extendable. Loop all of it. Why not?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you do that?
There must be a reason, but I don't know.
Is that hard to do?
I haven't encountered that enough to know.
Yeah.
As an
Is that
issue.
hard to do? I wonder. Yeah. I don't know. I think they should do that. Yeah. The other thing that would be cool is if they had like more background on the songs. Like, again, as an Apple Music user, like if you go to the album of an artist that you're listening to, there is a scrolly text thing that tells you like this artist is from, you know, Los Angeles and they recorded this album, blah, blah, blah. They give you like a little history, like this is the inspiration behind this song, how they wrote it. Like it'll be kind of cool. They don't have to name the person if they don't want to, but they can still do a thing like, you know, this track was written for Super Mario Odyssey. They really wanted to evoke like whatever.
Oh, sure.
Like a little history bio of each track or each album would be really cool.
I'm going back to my example with Donkey Kong Country 2. Maybe this is clunky, maybe this is a bad idea, but like I was out of the house when I was listening to that. I was listening to it in the car, and I made a.
They don't have CarPlay either.
And I made a mental note. I want to play that when I get home. Like, is there some ways like send yourself a reminder on the Switch? Like, I want to play this because it's on.
I want to play this game.
Is that for those games that are on NSO. I don't know, or like, can you wishlist it in the eShop? Like, oh yes, Kirby Star Allies. I do want to buy that game. I'll wishlist it, or like, I don't know, just more connectivity. There's a lot of connectivity stuff they could do.
Yeah, they could do it.
Yeah. Phantom Cookie has a similar question. With the recent developments to Nintendo Switch Online, do you think it's likely NSO could soon be rebranded to have another name? Perhaps something that sets up an expectation that this is now much more than just a service to play online games.
Well, Nintendo Switch Online is pretty...
But that's how you get Apple Music.
Bland. Or it's pretty broad.
And it has nothing to do with a Nintendo Switch.
Wait, what? I'm confused.
What? Bro, what?
Bro.
Nintendo Music is an app that is available to Nintendo Switch subscribers.
I see what you're saying. So it's like instead of Nintendo Switch Online, just a Nintendo Online.
It could just be like the Nintendo app or the Nintendo service or whatever.
Yeah, Nintendo Online.
Sure.
Just take out the Switch.
Do you think that's likely?
I think it's not going to be likely because the majority of the functionality is for playing games. This is one example of like how they can add other functionality or other apps to it, but I don't think it's at the level of like an Apple where there's like Apple Fitness, Apple Arcade, Apple Music, Apple whatever.
Yeah.
Apple TV. It's not quite at that level yet, so you probably don't need to rebrand it now.
But they only have one thing.
They only have
Apple's
the one
got
thing.
this, handful of things.
Exactly.
I think they could eventually because like otherwise it's like is Nintendo Switch just like our gaming property for the forever future?
Maybe.
That's a long time, and the longer you wait to change it,
the harder
it's going to be. So I could actually see them do. I mean, who knows? Maybe when they announce the Switch 2, it's like, and this is now becoming this because it's your Nintendo lifestyle app.
Yeah.
Like that feels like it could
Unless
be a
they just
clean
go
way to do it.
like the PS route and it becomes like Switch 2, Switch 3, Switch 4, Switch 5.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you have to be really committed to doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that they are.
I don't think they would do that, honestly, because they're very like, we got to zag.
So I could see them changing.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Crashuri has a question that I think you're going to love this one.
Oh!
What are your thoughts on talking Pokemon?
Oh!
Personally, I would have had a lot more interest in the Pokemon anime if the Pokemon actually talked, but not to humans, just to each other, Lady and the Tramp style. Meowth will still talk, though, both in reality and Pokemon talk, as well as legendaries and telepathy users. The latter would probably drop the echo and add their lip flaps when talking normally to Pokemon. I feel like it could work by giving them human sides that their trainers usually don't know about and help us sympathize and connect with the Pokemon more and showcase the differences between their views of the world, and stuff like Pikachu shorts would especially benefit from that. Again, that's just me, but what do you think? And hey, if anything else, there's always Digimon. There's always Digimon.
I would like them to talk.
To who?
Each other.
Not to people.
Not to people.
Okay.
I think that'd be really cute, actually, if they talk to each other.
Now, do you mean all Pokemon could speak to each other, or it's like a Rapidash can only speak to another Rapidash?
I think they can all talk to each other.
Because like a cat maybe has another language with a cat, but not with a dog. You know what I mean? Okay?
I think it'd be fun for them to all be able to talk to each other as Pokemon. I think that's a good idea.
I think I'm against this thing entirely.
What?
Yeah, I don't think I need this, and I definitely don't like the Pokemon that get the blurred lines between humans and Pokemon. Like
I don't like those.
Sometimes they get too humanoid.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I mean, my beloved Machamp accepted. It is kind of humanoid. It walks on two legs. It's got 4 arms.
But it's got like a chest.
Hulk level strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of prefer Pokemon when they're more like, this is clearly like an animal. And there's like a divide between a human and
But that's why they're talking their animal language to each other. They're talking.
Then they can only talk amongst themselves.
That's right. That's what I meant. That's what I said.
No.
Yes.
Mankey is not talking to Growlithe. Okay?
Why?
No, because
they're animals. They are all. They're talking the language of animals.
each other.
They're talking the language of animals.
No, maybe the evolutions can talk.
It's kind of like that.
Mankey and Primeape, yes, they can talk.
Zootopia.
Mankey.
Stop saying Mankey. It's like Zootopia. Zootopia is a movie about zoo animals living in a world, animal world.
Look this up.
And I feel like you've watched this movie.
This movie. Okay.
See, a bunny rabbit is talking to a fox.
There are no humans in this movie?
No.
Okay, that's the problem. That's the difference.
Right?
No.
It would be cute if
they
have.
Pokemon are analogous to animals, and they inhabit the animal kingdom, and they have their own little societies amongst themselves.
What if you were
and humans are different. If I was Mankey?
What if I was Mankey? And I learned the Rapidash language.
You can't.
I learned the horse language.
You can't comprehend it.
Why can't I?
It's not a horse.
It's like
it's a Rapidash.
Why can't I just? It's like me learning French.
Again, cats and dogs. They're barely getting by
French
as it is.
French people and Chinese people.
They're barely getting by as it is. Those are humans. It's different. The capacity of the human brain. I mean, there's probably Pokemon that are smarter than people too. Maybe that's different. But again, it bleeds the lines. We got to move on. Mankey, though. I'm down with Mankey. I've been playing that Mankey card a lot in the Pokemon trading card.
I don't like
Mankey. Mankey's pretty good. When you evolve Mankey, you can do some real damage.
What happens when you evolve Mankey?
You'll never know. The Natrix. Hey, you two. It just dawned on me recently that it's been over a year since Mario Wonder released. I haven't gone back to it since the game since I beat it, but I had a blast with it when it came out. What are your thoughts on the game a year later? And do you think it will have a legacy that compares to some of the other classic 2D Mario games?
I have not gone back to this game either after I beat it. I did really like it when I was playing it. But you know what? It doesn't have like as much of a sticky memory for me as some of the other Mario games. And I don't feel the desire to go back. I never 100% of this game. I think I still have some of those like Star World-ish, whatever they're called, levels that I didn't even do. Those really hard ones.
Yeah.
But I haven't felt the desire to really go back to this game. How about you?
Some people were talking it up around the anniversary a few weeks ago, and I did come close to firing it up then, but I haven't. No, and I just think it's really hard for a 2D Mario game to recapture that same kind of magic of the like Mario 3, Mario World time, because like that, there were just fewer types of games out there. There were fewer games, and those were like so clearly like, yes, this is what everybody is playing, and now everybody's a bit more spread out. So the game can be great. A game can be enjoyed by a lot of people. It just doesn't have the same kind of cultural moment as those games do.
Why do you think you have not felt the desire? Because you are a Mario game root player. You love to go back to older Mario games and kind of poke around. Why do you think you've not gone back?
Honestly, I feel like I would maybe rather go back to 3 or World. So no, I would not rank it higher than those games. I think, the wonder effects maybe were good the first time, but for replays are a detriment.
You lose the surprise factor.
Like I know what's going to happen, and maybe I'll like this effect, maybe I won't. Maybe I just want to play normal Mario stuff and not this like psychedelic stuff. I'm kind of realizing in real time maybe that's
a very interesting observation.
That might be it.
That's true, because the game really hinges on the surprise and delight of those
and
wonder effects.
And a lot of those were really cool, but it
second time around, you might not be as cool.
Yeah,
because
I'm
you're like,
feeling like,
I've seen this mechanic.
I don't know if
now.
I want to do all those again.
Like I get where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Last question's from Baby Chris. With the recent news of Guerrilla Games having drawn the line and saying they're over with the Killzone series and they've moved on to focus on Horizon games, do you think it's wise for a studio to draw the line for a franchise that they've created? Was there ever a Nintendo franchise that was on the chopping block to be over with? Thank you for your input.
Mario, you're done.
I don't know why a studio would do this.
I think it's very stupid for a studio to do this.
We're never doing this again.
Well, I don't know why would you? No one's asking you.
Why do you need to do that?
Just never say never. You might not do it for a long time, but who knows what's going to happen in the future, right? Yeah, feels like you're artificially putting yourself into a corner for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would do that.
Any reason that I could think of for them doing that just feels kind of weak and flimsy. Like, like Horizon's the big thing now. Like we're really trying to...
Well, you don't need to tell people that.
You don't need to do that at the expense of this other thing.
People understand that.
Maybe there is a hiring reason to do this. Like we need people to make open world games, not shooters.
No, that seems silly.
I don't know.
It seems like you wouldn't want to close the door on any possibility.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of people saying lately, like, maybe they should give Killzone a try again. So, and this kind of news is like, resulting in some teeth gnashing of the fans of like, we just need to try it again. Just try Killzone. Somebody try it.
Somebody try it. Yeah, it feels a little silly to me that you would just like, on purpose shut the door on something that no one has asked you to shut the door on. No one's really asking you about.
I don't know.
So it's kind of weird to do that.
It's weird.
I don't think you should do that. And no, Nintendo would never say this because they never throw any ideas away.
They love coming back to stuff.
Even the silliest ideas, they're like, let's just file that away under check back in 10 years.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I like that because you don't want to waste.
You don't know.
You don't know, and you don't want to waste these ideas, right?
Yeah.
You never want to waste something.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody who sent in a question.
Great questions.
Yeah.
Should we do some wonderful Patreon shout-outs?
We really should.
Yes, let's start with our final boss, Aaron Hash!
There he is. Been getting those NASCAR updates from Aaron Hash.
There's been
my predictions. Your
seems
predictions.
Like mine and yours are the top two now.
We're top NASCAR predictions.
We should have
put some money
on this.
On that NASCAR.
Clearly, yeah. All right, here comes the superstars. Ben Eichhorn.
Mario Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up, _
Fijian Life.
Link, the hero of winds.
Angela Bycrofton or Pig Molly.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Simon.
Krashuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kunlas.
And 40 Gig.
Yay! Okay, and the One Up Club. Aaron Burgundy.
Add Cool 2000.
Ale Alejandro.
Astro Dev.
Awesome 46.
Bates.
Ben GB.
Big and Gamer with a Y.
Bookham Dano.
Brad SF56.
Brandon Cavapil.
Brent Dennison.
Brovac Novak.
Bruce Dash.
Cameron.
Chadir.
Shelly Squirrel.
Crispy Saurus.
Christopher Lay.
Captain Alex.
0/17.
Dallas E.
Dachshund.
Doinko.
Eccentric Tony.
Echo Ladere.
Elite Peach.
Espars 50.
Fart Priest 69.
Fairbound.
Fernie and Just Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Funky Han.
Garth the Wolf.
Garth Tooth.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I May Have Made a Mistake.
Iris Marin.
Jay Rando.
Jack Hoving.
Jameson Eisenberg.
Jeffrey Hernandez.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette.
Jordan Hammerly.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo.
Christorati Kid.
Christopia Party With Me.
Kyle Gamerberry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer.
Lazy Cat 4 Coffee.
Lex.
Link 9898.
Low Mikey.
Lit.
Luigi 53.
Lynn.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G plus Callie Marie.
Mako 56K.
Mario Man 392.
Marky Man 64.
Maverick Nate.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
Michael Cravens.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
MSM Poke Gamer.
My Tran.
Nasir.
Naife.
Ninja 11.
Pangy.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Gale Network.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Raver.
Rain Tech.
Random Bystander here.
Record Rumble.
Ryuji Utsuho Okuu.
Wrath 1.
Rob.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Ryanetta.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Schmales.
Slowbro.
Schnazzle.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Steel Citron.
Pseudo Priest.
Tales of a Lake.
Shinryu. No.
Huh?
Tay 120. N64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Kagers.
The Shark Among Men.
Tom Salvarez.
Three Rivers.
Timmy V.
Torchies.
Totally Joe Ed.
Travis Torline.
Trujawi.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tusku.
Tyler Geis.
Uncle Jungle.
Video Game Stupid.
Vish Mictor.
Viridian.
VirtualBot.
WG Grizzy.
YU.
Wicked Davy.
Will Johnson.
Zelgaroth.
Zapati.
Zero Link.
It's Royd.
Oh, that's different.
The
The
disruptions.
Zelgaroth Zapati Zroid chain has
been
expanded.
broken.
Has expanded.
Oh, it's been.
And to include Zero Link. Wow.
Zelgroff, Zapati, Zero, Lincoln's Royd.
Okay. Wow. 4 Zs. 4 Zs.
Zeds.
That's amazing.
Zeds.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's a long episode. Wow.
We had to give proper respect
we did.
to the 20th anniversary of the wonderful Nintendo DS.
For
what a
every
time.
unit sold, we will go on for another hour.
Oh, no,
Every million units sold.
Wait.
Yes.
I was going to say, that's a long
It's too
time.
long. We'll never
We're
stop.
going to be here for like the rest of our
Every
lives.
million units.
So 140. Oh,
No,
no. We're
no.
not doing that.
No.
All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta to keep all of this content going, please.
If you're watching this on video, you can go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel, give this video a comment, and what's the other thing? See, this
Thumbs
happens.
up.
Thumbs it up. Thank you.
Yes. And a written review, please.
Well, that's on the audio side. So we're out there. Leave a written review, 5-star rating, and subscribe. See, I did it backwards. I redeemed myself by doing it backwards.
You really confused me and you.
Huh?
We're on social. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Threads.
That's right.
That's it.
That
Gotta go.
is the conclusion.
Yay.
Off the Picto chat we go.
Okay, bye.
Bye.